going on, everyone? It's episode 195, recorded on Sunday, January 21st, 2024. I'm John, and hey, Drew, what does the mafia and a pussy have in common? One slip of the tongue and you're in deep shit.
Touche. What is up, everybody? On tonight's episode, we catch up on TV shows and movies that we have been watching. How Drew, that's me, achieved the biggest gaming moment of his life. And it's time. It's 2024 Nintendo prediction time, but this year, a little bit of a twist. John, buddy, it feels like it's been a long time, but it's just been 2 weeks. That's all. The normal.
It's always 2 weeks. It's the way it always is.
How you feeling with chubbies and everything on? You've been eating healthy, exercising?
I have been eating much healthier. I'm not as intense as you guys. You guys are hardcore, but I mean, I've had Totinos. I made a new kind of I found the recipe on TikTok. TikTok is my favorite source of crazy recipes now.
Okay.
You take, those Hawaiian rolls that come in the bag and
they're so good.
The little squares,
ones
right?
or the big ones?
Yeah, they're little like a square, and it's like, sometimes
like a bar burger, like a slider.
Yeah. Basically take the whole thing. Not the whole thing, whatever fits in a pan.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do a couple slices along each column, stuff it with mozzarella cheese. And then you make basically a garlic butter, butter, garlic, parsley, whatever. And especially Parmesan. And then you spread it over the top, cook it for 12 minutes. And oh man, it's so good. You pull it apart, you get the whole cheese effect thing. My son tasted it first and he's like, oh, he goes, Dad, I like this. He goes, don't make the Italian bread any other way anymore. Do it this way.
Oh man, that does sound
good. And I got to enjoy that on today. I hit my low on Chubbies.
Oh, nice.
I'm still kind of hoping to hit my low again tomorrow. Hopefully that bread doesn't
I know.
Doesn't ruin. I need a Drew size shit tonight. And,
yes, that's the key.
But yeah, no, I haven't gone too crazy with it, and been losing some weight. And you've been eating salads. I don't know how you do salads every day.
Don't get me wrong. I've always eaten salads a lot, but yeah, I have a salad every single day for lunch. I mean, I don't put any protein or meat in it. Rather, I put in some olives, some banana peppers, a little bit of mozzarella cheese, not a lot.
So gross.
Chickpeas, big chickpea fan. I would do green or black olives. I'll change it up. And tomatoes. That's it. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. And I like a strawberry vinaigrette dressing, a little light, flavorful. You don't need too much.
Yeah.
That's what I do every day. So every day I do starve because I have a yogurt. I mean, you gotta remember, I wake up at 4:30. Right, so my body starts to get hungry earlier.
Yeah.
So I'll have just a yogurt for breakfast, and then I won't eat anything until about 11:30, and then I'll have my salad, and then if I'm hungry, I have an apple or blueberries. That's it. That's my snack, and then I'll eat when I get home for dinner. And dinner, I will say for dinner, it's whatever. There's no I don't have dessert or snacks, but if I have pasta or pizza, it doesn't matter. Whatever's for dinner that night is just normal dinner night.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
and then I'll do my exercising.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
That's
what, though.
Nuts.
I know you do the elliptical. I do the treadmill. There's nothing better than an elliptical or treadmill when sports are on. It's so much easier because it's it's just, you don't have to focus if you're watching a show, and it's just entertaining and it's nonstop. Yeah, both today and yesterday, I timed my treadmill run, and I ran for the entire first half of 2 games yesterday and games today. I'm gonna be on the treadmill for a whole half, and it was
the
great.
Entire half.
Yeah, I felt good.
Running or just walking?
I've been doing 5 minutes of a run jog and then walk for 3 minutes.
Why do you keep saying 2 words for every 1 word tonight? What is going on here?
That's just it's
show run jog. What are we doing?
I'm indifferent. Oh, boy.
So I've been watching a show and it's like about 30 minutes long, which sucks
Okay.
because it's on Peacock. We'll talk about it. Twisted Metal. We'll talk about it later. And it
Okay.
sucks because it's on Peacock and Peacock has ads. So like
Oh,
an episode will be, and
that's the
usually I do
worst.
the elliptical for 20 minutes and
Yeah.
that's it because we do a morning walk. I don't have the time to do like
That's
another half
it's
during the day.
the time consuming is the tough part.
Exactly. So, um, the shows are like it could be like 27 minutes, right? And then one episode's like 31. And but like I have to go through the commercials too.
That's
So I
brutal.
end up doing the elliptical and I'm usually sitting on the elliptical, even as the timer has finished. I'm just going, trying to watch as much of the show as possible. Maybe I'll let it go, whatever.
Mhm.
And it's tough. Like it's tough to do for 30 minutes. I'm not used to it. I can get it done. I've watched 6 episodes. I've gotten
Okay.
it done, but I don't like it. I don't like it.
The commercials really throw you off. I agree, because then it's like you're used to fast forwarding, or like during commercials when you're on your couch, at least you go on your phone, or you can't. Now you're physically stuck
Stuck.
watching the commercials. It's
Right.
brutal.
I know. I want to go play video games. What's going
Yeah,
on here?
do something.
Um, we've had the worst week this week. I mean,
That's not good.
the worst week outside of like health weeks, but the transmission in our minivan has been doing poorly. I can't remember if
Oh
I've ever mentioned it
no.
on the show. But Michelle had been saying she's the primary driver of our main car, like that. Sometimes
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a kick when the gear shifts and whatever. It's like, okay. And then she brought it in and they were like, oh, that could be the transmission. That could be very expensive. And it's like, oh shit, you know?
Yep.
And then so that was kind of our worst fear. So then we just decided, you know what, because they said it's gonna fail gracefully, you know, you're not gonna like wreck on a highway or whatever.
Hmm.
So I was like, well, I get my like annual bonus in March. Let's wait till March and then see what's going on then.
Yep.
So she comes home on Friday and Cedric walks into my room immediately and he's like, the car is bad. And the morning was the same usual transmission thing. No
Yep.
big deal, whatever.
Little hiccup. Yep.
But coming home, like she was like not getting enough speed. It wasn't kicking into gear. Once she got on speed, she was okay on the highway. And then once like she started changing speed, she had trouble. The
Oh,
car
that's scary.
basically you push the accelerator and you hear vroom, but you're not
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
moving really.
Yep.
So I was like, oh boy. So I went to test it today because we're gonna try to bring it to a transmission place. We got a high price from Toyota dealership, so we're like going to
Sure.
take it to a transmission place. I said, I'm going to go drive it today. I went with Cedric so I can make sure, like, is this what you felt on Friday?
Mhm.
I mean, I pulled out of the garage and then I was hitting reverse at the bottom of the driveway and then the car just wasn't moving anymore. And I was like, oh my God. And then I went
Ouch.
to the drive and it was very slowly, but then I got on the road. I was going to drive a few blocks. I went up the street and was like, I need to turn back around, got to the bottom of my driveway. And then when I went to go up the hill, it just lost all acceleration. And then the car goes, we're shutting down, all wheel drive, shutting down,
Oh my gosh.
like traction control. It was like, I didn't think I'd get it back in the garage, but I turned the car off, turned it back on. You get rebooted, right? And I got it in the garage. So
So safe to say
basically,
that thing's not being driven anymore.
I know. I told Michelle, I said our last memory could be the car being towed out of the garage, which is basically what's going to have to happen. So
So are you thinking about getting a new transmission, or no way? You'll just buy a new car.
the problem is your car doesn't really have much value, trade-in
It
value.
doesn't. No,
So
it's not, and it's expensive. But it's a lose lose. You're right.
it's an expensive fix, but if we get the transmission fixed, repaired, replaced, whatever, we can always sell the car, trade in the car later and get much more value from that.
Okay.
So we thought about getting a new car, but like interest rates are still high and they're supposed to go down soon.
Yep.
And, you know, and she wants a Toyota Sienna, but there's not much inventory of a Toyota Sienna. So even if you
Nope.
wanted
Yeah.
one, it's hard to find one right now. We've gone back and forth, but yeah, I'm going to talk to a transmission place tomorrow and we're just going to try to get it fixed. We're just going to have to pay up the nose for it. And then, you know, figure out down the road. Hopefully it fixes it. And the car's never really had any other trouble.
Does it have a lot of miles?
It's 120,000 miles. So it's a lot,
Yeah.
but also not. Transmissions are not supposed to fail. They're supposed
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
work forever. But if we get it replaced, I'm not like convinced the engine's going to go out and everything else is going to go out. But at the very least, get it replaced, and then in the future we can trade it in, and it'll still be more worth our money. Plus, if we buy a car, I'd rather do it when the interest rates go down a little bit. But I mean, you were looking at if you don't get a good trade-in value, a $900,000 payment a month.
It's crazy.
And
it's
then
crazy.
that's not any better. Like,
No,
I'd rather
how much
just
is
pay.
transmission though? $6-7 grand, $8 grand.
Toyota was saying about $8,500.
Yep.
This transmission place, we're going to see. Maybe they can fix it for a lot cheaper. We'll see what happens there. But I have a feeling they will be cheaper no matter what.
Sure.
I just don't know how much cheaper. But as much as it sucks, it's still the better way to go, to just replace the transmission and then figure it out from there. There's no good solutions.
Yeah, I mean, you have no. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming it's paid off, right? So you don't. It's not like you have a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always assume, like, when the car's paid off, you're building up that repair equity. All the money you don't pay in car payments could go towards a repair. So basically, we're just going to give back like 9 months of payments and fix the transmission. But of course, it's not like I have that money saved up somewhere. But yeah, there's no good solutions. It's really crummy because nothing's a good solution, right? You're gonna like bleed out your checking account. I mean, people don't really have that much money just sitting around. That's invested.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so
But it's the worst too, because it's like $8 grand of just getting something to work that like already worked last week. Like, it's not like you're getting like a new car. You're not getting anything, a new shiny toy. It's literally just fixing something that you had last week. That
should never fail in the first place.
At least if you paid $8-10 grand, you had a new car, like, it's new toy, new shiny, different features. But it's like, no, same thing. So
yeah, and you can't even like, okay, we'll just trade it in. We'll get a few $1,000s for it because they can sell it for parts, and then like whatever, because like then you don't know. You still have to get it looked at because maybe it wasn't as big a deal, and you gave away $10,000 of value. There's just
at least you got to get it checked, right? Because maybe they can fix it. Maybe you don't need a whole new transmission. And
my hope is,
if they say $8 grand, then maybe you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, this transmission place does free towing. I mean, free, right? I don't know. They probably wrap it into the price anyway, but they can tow your car, and because they get that all the time, they tow your car in, and I just presume whatever price they give me, I'm just going to go with it. And it will presumably be cheaper than Toyota. We'll just see what that price is. I don't know. If it's a few $1,000s, I'm going to have champagne. That's it. All right, enough about transmissions. But yeah, Chubby's week continues on. We're through 2 weeks as of, I guess right now.
Yeah.
And we're both doing pretty good. We're both looking pretty svelte.
I feel good. It's all about, this is my one comment about Chubby's. Don't get focused too much on the numbers and how much you weigh. At the end of the day, it's about you feeling better than you did the day before, right? If your body feels better, you have more energy. That's the key, I think, to healthy life. I mean, there's no such, sure, there might be on paper the best weight you're supposed to weigh for your height and age, etc. But for me, it's just about how I feel. So that's
and to put in perspective, I've lost 2.2% of my weight, which is a good number for 2 weeks. I haven't had that day where I wake up and feel like slimmer. Like I feel my belly. I'm feeling my belly right now.
It feels like it's the same.
It feels kind of the same. And I just had a big Italian dinner. I get it, but but usually there's a day I wake up and go, God, I feel good.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping for that. Here's some numbers though. Ryan Muncie is the overall leader right now. He has lost 5% of his body weight. He didn't have that much to lose.
Crazy.
Nick Metzger, who won last year's Chubbies,
defending champ,
at it again. He's lost 4.6%. Trey has lost 4.1. Rizzle 29, who's sitting here watching the Bills game, has lost 3.9. Crazy. Bills Mafia losing weight during this time of year. That's the most impressive I've ever seen.
Bench press on tables.
Those tables, they burn calories, man.
They do. Jumping on them, jumping off,
So really good numbers. We won't throw Mecca out because he put the wrong weight in. Mecca, if you're listening, your stated weight was 2 pounds less than your picture. So but yeah, no, lots of great performances. So really happy with that. So we'll see where we go from here. 6 more weeks. I can tell you this. I did a little mini chubbies like a few months ago. I tried to lose
Yeah.
some weight and I kept a record on the board and I didn't do well. I've already passed where I got last time.
I'll tell you what, there's something about the community and motivation. It's true. It's naturally motivates us, the competitiveness, whatever you want to call it. Seeing your name up on that leaderboard a little bit higher, it's just
Yeah, you know what, that red arrow pointing up,
yeah.
right? It's terrible.
Yeah, it's exciting.
All right, Slim Life. Let's get into what we've been playing. Drew, let's kick it off with the only game that we've both played.
Yes.
Cobalt Core. Why don't you kick us off with what you think of Cobalt Core? I've finished it.
Okay.
So you can't spoil me. So why don't you talk about Cobalt Core? I don't think we have to worry too much about spoilers, but
no, I mean it's not like it.
Not a big deal.
So Cobalt Core, I mean, we should describe it a little bit to people that aren't familiar with it, John, right?
Up, down, left, right. I mean, that sort of thing.
Down, left, right. I'm probably shouldn't describe it because I'm the worst person at describing games, but I'll give my go here. It is a deck building game, roguelike, where it's space themed. I guess you could say you're kind of a spaceship going through fighting other spaceships. Very, very similar to Slay the Spire way, where you can kind of pick your characters. What I like about this game is you unlock more characters, but you have to select 3 characters, right? And each character kind of brings different types of cards to your deck throughout the games. I like that because now as you unlock more, you can start to find different character combos that you like, right? Do you like to move around a lot? Do you like to play with the little drones? There's different ways to do it, right? So all cool, unique things. There's a small little story, I guess you could say, which I think it did an okay balance with. It's not too much dialogue or anything. It's not story driven, right? There's a tiny story with it, but nothing.
It's like a story plot.
Yeah, which it kind of makes it. I can't share. They put a little humor in there. A story plot, sure, John.
I like this. I want to do the 2-word thing too. I'm getting in.
So my thoughts, how I feel about it. It sucks you in, right? Because what I like about it is that
like your mom.
It's simple. At least for my play, I probably played about 5, 6, 7 hours, maybe 5, 6. You're not doing a lot of damage. You're doing 1 to 2 to 3 to 5, and I like that because it's easy math for me, and I can do it quick, and I don't have to worry about it. But at the end of the day, John, I did feel like it's a little bit repetitive, and maybe just because I put too much time into it too quickly, and not that I played that much of it. I don't know. It feels a little repetitive and dry. I feel like when I complete a run, besides really changing the character combos and stuff, there's not really like there's no. I guess you're not getting any unlockables or boosts from run to run, right? Am I wrong by saying that?
By saying what?
Like you're not getting anything that's going to help you in your next run. Like it's a fresh start over.
That's part of that's part of the thing I don't really like about it. But yeah, like you're when you start the game, you have your 3 pilots, right? Yep. Every time you do a run, you have 3 different pilots, and each one has a little specialization, and they'll have a little mix of your cards. So it's really like it's like Slay the Spire, except you have 3 guys, and everyone's like a third of your effective. You have a certain number of ships. You start off with 1 that's unlocked, and you can unlock other ships, and then you fight by battling the ships, right? I got sucked in too, Drew, and in the beginning, it's like one of the ships to unlock, you have to win 10 runs, right? Very Hades-like. It can't be an incident. And I was like, oh, cool. And then one you unlocked by beating it in hard mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of like addictive because you're like, ooh, I want to go get that one. I'm going to try to do a hard run, or I'm going to stick to the normal so I could eventually unlock this ship, And that was really fun. Once you sort of get into the whole, I've unlocked the hard mode ship and I've unlocked this other ship, either like, I just got to win this 10 times, and it feels a little grindy.
Yep.
Once you do the 10, and then you start to get a feel for, I think I understand how the game finishes. it can be very grindy. It's just, you just have to win, run, win a run, win a run, win a run. And I don't know how that's different from other games. With Slay the Spire, you up the ascension level, and then you're trying to beat that ascension level to unlock the next ascension level. It's like a
Yep.
perpetual set of unlocks.
Yeah.
In this game, you just have to win the normal run and then win it again and then win it again
The
and win it
same
again.
thing. You're playing
Yeah.
the same as that thing over and over. There's no buff. There's no upgrades. There's nothing. You're gonna have a different, tree or whatever you want to path that you choose. But to your point, you're right. Like, so that's why in the beginning you play it, you die, you play it, you die, you learn, you beat a run, you're excited, you're like, great, I beat one. And then it kind of, you get this little unlock of memory, but then it's like, all right, now what? Oh, I just have to literally do the same thing I just did. And like you said, I think I beat it 5 times out of the
Yep.
10. And I'm like, I'm only halfway there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's getting to the point where I just feel like it's the same thing over and over again. And I wish there was like 10. I wish it was maybe 5, because then it was like, all right, achieve it, like it's right there,
Yep.
you know. But 10 is just seems like I'm just playing it to play it at this point, you know?
Yeah. I really had fun playing it. Don't get me wrong. I was playing it just constantly, especially when we were watching movies, and I'm just like, do a run, do a run, do a
Yep.
run. The run's gonna be about 45 minutes. Once you get
Yeah.
kind of
Agree.
once you get comfortable with it, maybe 5 runs in, you can start
Good
doing them
length.
in
I agree.
45
It's a good
minutes.
length.
That's what she said.
Yep.
But still, it did feel very grindy in a way that other games like this, there just wasn't enough things to do. In the beginning, there's stuff to do and it's fun, but it runs out of things to do. It really could have done for more things to do. The other thing I didn't like about it was, yeah, from run to run, I didn't feel like I was unlocking cards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel anything. There was a run that I had to do with Isaac. I think Isaac is the one that does the drone stuff, and I wasn't
Yeah.
super into the drone stuff. You really have to. That one takes several runs to really get a feel for what you're trying
Agreed.
to do.
Yep.
And I had to do one more run with him. In fact, and it was the last one I had to do. And I just decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick 2 of my favorite guys, and then I'm going to pick Isaac, and then I'm going to remove all of Isaac's damn cards. And I did. I kept a couple of the good ones. But like every other Isaac card I could remove, I would remove. And I
Yeah.
just made that run not about Isaac, and that worked. Like somehow that
That's
worked.
crazy. Yeah.
But I will say overall, I really enjoyed the game. I finished it. I did everything in it.
Wow.
And I am kind of looking forward to like a free update or maybe even a DLC or whatever. I'd love to get back into it. If they could do a free update where they give you a whole bunch of different challenges to do, and maybe you can unlock some cards for each person. So like when you do a run, you unlock a better card. The way Slay the Spire does it, you unlock a better card that character can use later.
Yeah.
It always felt the same, and I could do the same run over and over and over and over, and I'd win. When my win record was like great. I lost several, but
But to your
yeah,
point, right? If you find the right build that works for you, you could essentially try to replicate that build every time just to make that win.
right. After a while, like you can't
Because
use those same 3 characters forever, but
no, but for the
once you
first
win one
10,
run with them, yeah, if you win one run with them, you can just win the next run, try to go
yeah,
for the same thing. The power-ups were all very similar too. Like every run I was like getting the same kind of power-ups. I was so familiar with them.
yep,
You
I'm
play a
already
game
like
like
that. Yeah,
Slay. I don't want to compare it to Slay all the time, but it's just easy to. You compare it to Slay, every run, I could do 10 runs and I will get so many different relics. And my run will
yeah.
feel so different. But in
And like
this
the
game, I
question
got the same
marks are
ones.
always like there's more variety in Slay. Like I
Yes.
feel like it was the same. I'm talking to that same guy, and it's the same stuff, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. The guy that gives you the cards that don't like do anything. I
Mixing up the ship parts in the different order,
Yep.
like it's just it's all
Yeah.
it got
It was like a
repetitive.
lot of the same stuff.
And I only
Uh
played like probably 30% of what you've played so far, right?
yeah.
If I'm like at 7 hours or so, right? You
It
said
is
you played like 20
undoubtedly
ish.
grindy, but
It's
I
fun.
enjoyed playing it, so I
Agreed.
endured the grind, but it is grindy. It did lack for some accomplishments and things you could do.
Agreed. I think you
Uh,
hit on it best earlier. This is one of the best, like handheld games I've played in a long time. It's just perfect for sitting on the couch while you're watching TV, because you don't need to focus a lot. Like if you just like looked up for like 30 seconds, no one's attacking you. It's just like
Yeah.
it's the best couch game. It really is.
Yeah. And another nice thing too is it's not just about playing a card and attacking. It really is about playing a card that you're moving a spaceship. So that it's about
Yep.
shielding your ship, moving your ship, attacking with your ship. There's a lot of strategy and different ways you can go about it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'll say this: it's definitely better than Wild Frost.
Yes. I keep seeing people say that Wild Frost like has gotten much better with updates, and I keep wanting to try to give it another go, but I just can't get myself to move on it.
I know.
All right.
Anyways, Cobalt Core. It's out there, $20 or might be on sale or so. Came out a few months ago, maybe.
Yeah. No, it's
So,
good. It's a good
give
game.
it a go.
I actually really did enjoy it. I wouldn't have finished the whole game if I didn't enjoy it.
Yep,
I just
agreed.
feels like, man, just give me just a little bit more to have to do to make that less grindy. It would have been perfect. We both played a bunch. We can go back and forth.
Sure.
I'll just start off with a quick update. I finished Blasphemous 2. This was the Metroidvania I told you about, and
Yep, I remember this.
fantastic. I actually the final boss. It kind of he's split into two different characters, not and a couple phases each. The final boss was a fucking nightmare. A nightmare to the point that was the first time I had to look up a guide to be like, what in the hell am I supposed to do?
Jeez, that stinks.
And I got the advice that there is this hidden quest in the game. And if you do it, you'll get a really good secondary item, which stops time.
Oh.
And then if you use one of your weapons in a particular way, you can basically stop time and then very quickly attack the enemy. Very light attacks, but it rebuilds your time stopping ability. And then you can essentially cheese him by practically stopping time, beat him up when time starts again, hit him again, like that sort of thing.
Nice.
And I did that. And that's the only way I could have beaten that guy. That boss was super strong and it was a nightmare. And I don't like when games just make the ending super difficult because it can really spoil your feeling of the game. But it was a fantastic Metroidvania. It's better than the first game in every single way. And the first game is great. So I definitely recommend it. If you like Metroidvanias, play both of these. But Blasphemous 2 was incredible. I finished that one. Let me talk about Pode. Happy Pode. Pode is spelled Pode. And if you remember, about 4 or 5 years ago, this game came out. This is the game where it's a co-op game. There's a little rock guy and then a little sun girl. I think that's kind of how they went with it.
Okay.
And you can play with somebody couch op, or you can take turns with yourself switching between the characters, obviously forever alone. This is a game to play with a loved one or a child or a friend or whatever.
Okay.
We bought this game 4 or 5 years ago when it came out, and we never got to it, right? My wife doesn't play games with me all that very much. And we just never got to it. And then the other day, I was going through her Switch for something. I was like, oh, Pode, are we ever going to play that or whatever? So we decided to play it. And man, we had a lot of fun. This was last weekend.
Really?
We had a lot of fun. This is what I wanted Blanc to be, the one with the deer and the wolf. This is what I wanted that to be. So it's basically just a series of levels, and you got to figure out a way to open up the door, get to the door, and go to the next level.
I like that. Simple. Okay.
Right. There's lots of collectibles to find, and every level tells you how many collectibles are in each one. So if you come back and you're looking, you know exactly what you're looking for. And there are so many things each character can do that the other couldn't do. And it made it really fun, right? She was the sun. She had a warping ability. She could warp us. She had the ability to she can create certain flowers, and I could create certain flowers. I forgot what her glow did, but like each of them has several things they can do. I could swallow her, and then she could warp back, and it would carry me with her. So it was very cool the way the skills could intermix. So that was a neat thing to do. Plus, she can get on my head, and we can help jump on top of things or whatever. Yeah. There's just more than what Blanc had, which was like everyone had like one thing. This was much more thought out.
I'm looking at it now, $25. It seems steep for that.
I'd wait for a sale, yeah. But this is a perfect Drew Amy game, for sure.
This looks
Yeah,
solid.
we had a blast. We got through it in like 2 days because we were just having so much fun with it.
Is it like, does it go split screen, or the levels are small that everything's contained onto one screen?
If the two characters get that far apart, you just won't see the other character. It doesn't happen that often, but you can kind of switch the camera focus, so you can just shift the camera over. But there's never really any reason to get too far apart, so it just works naturally.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but it's fantastic. This is a great couples game, and it's not like simple or dumb or whatever. Like I said, I hate to say it, but Blanc was just kind of terrible, but I wanted it to be great. Pode is really fun.
Oh, so this is old.
It's an older game. When did it come out?
June 2018.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
I've never heard of it. It like you said, it looks like a cute little good co-op game with the
I
wife.
would bet you we might have talked about it when it came out, because I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, look at that." I think it was in a direct.
Really? Okay.
But yeah, I mean, neither of us played it, and I don't know anybody else who played it. But it's really good. It's really good.
It's on my wish list.
Yeah, I think you and Amy would really like it.
Nice. I'm not talked about it, but I'll just mention Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. I think last time we chatted, God, this feels so long ago. I still had COVID then, but did I beat it? Had I finished it?
I don't remember on the last episode.
I don't think I have, because we recorded earlier in the day because I had COVID. But I mean, I've beaten a few games since then, so it's hard to wrap this around. But anyways, I beat the game. It held up to what I said is one of my favorite games of all time. Loved it. I don't even talk about it anymore. It held to it. I really hope there's a DLC that explores the second Avatar movie. If you've seen that, kind of more water, coastal, shoreline focused, did it again. I hope they bring that in as like a DLC area with some quests and extended story, but I will revisit it. The other game I'll mention is, as soon as I finished that, I decided to play Silent Hope. If you remember this game, John, this was in a Nintendo Direct a while ago. I think it came out in like November-ish. There was just a lot to play then. So I waited. Was been on my wish list for some time. So Silent Hope is definitely a dungeon crawler, road like, I guess you could say, style of bird's eye view type beat 'em up game.
Great.
I mean, it's Diablo. It's Diablo, right? It's essentially similar to Diablo with less inventory management. But it kind of has like that cartoonish. What's like that Final Fantasy game that they had, the Crystal
Chronicles?
It's kind of looks like that. Like, that's the style a little bit. But there's 7 classes you can choose from right off the beginning. I decided to go with like an archer. The cool part is, in this game, you can switch like mid-level to your different classes that you want. The only weird, crappy part is that they level up independently. So you could probably play the entire game as like 2 or 3 classes, but you're not going to be able to play them all unless you just want to grind and grind and grind. There's skill trees. You can change in and out your skills. And yeah, there's this kind of, at first I was going to say super lame story, but it's a simple, not big, heavy dialogue story, but there's an underlying story there about a kingdom that has fallen, and the princess has asked you to help restore it. And it's a cute little story there. It's kind of emotional, John, but the gameplay works, and kind of that reoccurring, I guess, what's that word I'm looking for? Flow that you get into is, you jump down into what they call the abyss, you do some runs, and you can see like the map for every floor you go down, and there's going to be like if you see like a little campfire, the campfire means it's like a save point. You made it to a floor that you can now go back to the earth, or the top, out of the abyss, and then you can come back to that save point. The way it works is you go back to your little town area, and it becomes now like a lame crafting game, where all these things you've collected down below, you can now craft you found new blueprints, and you found new recipes that you can get new crafted things. The crappy thing is, it's that when you want to craft like upgraded materials, right? So for example, you want to turn stone into stone plus or whatever it's called. You have like a timer associated with it, almost like a mobile game, right? So
Hmm.
you have to do it, and you can use like crystals to just speed it up, or if you just set it all and then go back into the abyss, do another run, when you come out of the next, they'll be done. So it's not like you have to wait days or hours, but it is annoying that I just want to craft it and then craft my weapon. I don't want to have a time frame that I have to wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
But
weird.
yeah, if you do like recipes and stuff like that, that helps boost you. You know, you do like 10% more health or 10% more attack power. Yeah, this game was really a addicting loop that I enjoyed. It's at the end of the day, I enjoyed it. I played it to the end. I beat it, and then I think I sent you a screenshot that said something like, "There's more in the abyss if you like go deeper." So I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to go as deep as I can," if you know what I'm saying. So I went back and I played like the post game, and I played that to the completion as well, trying to add more to the storyline. A lot more fun. I think I ended up, it was like 15, maybe 20, probably 20-ish hours, I think, to play the whole game. I mean, was it the best game? No. For I just wanted that mindless loop of just grinding and playing. It was perfect for that. I enjoyed it. It's a fun game. Silent Hope.
Sweet. I think the last I saw you were 15 plus. You were probably like
Yeah,
just under 20.
that's what I'm. Yeah, between there. Yep.
Yeah. Um, I played a game that I did not expect to be as good as it was. It's a game called Detroit Become Human. And it's, of course, a game that I had to go talk to Tim about. Tim, have you played Detroit Become Human?
Of course.
I played this just every so often. I go on PS Plus and I download a game and give it a shot. You know, they're free, like whatever, see what it is. This was a narrative game.
Of
I used
course
to
it
like
was.
confuse this one with like Watch Dogs, which is a game I don't want to play. And I was like, oh, this is a different game. This is a narrative game. And okay, I got to play this one. And then so I finally got to playing it. And I tell you what, man, the first chapter of this game, and there's a lot of chapters. They're kind of like mission. I don't know. No, they're chapters, but they're all pretty short. The first chapter of this game, when it finished up, I was like, wow, like, oh my God, like that was really good. And then it led to a storyline. So the storyline of this game is Detroit is the center of a new world movement where we have androids that do a lot of our day-to-day life.
Okay.
People own androids the way you'd have like a maid or whatever, and they go and they do tasks for you, they clean for you, whatever, but they are totally lifelike. Hard to tell the difference between
Oh,
them and a
okay.
human being.
Gotcha.
And yeah, like as you go through the game, you see material and they're talking about, androids can do this, and there's child androids and blah 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 blah. And what happens is you start off the first mission, you are this android, you don't really know what's going on, but you're this android and you're kind of like a hostage negotiator. And there is a family android that has shot and killed the dad and has taken the daughter hostage on the edge of a rooftop. They're on like a high rise. And he's holding a gun to the little girl's head and he's like making
Messed up.
threats. And so now you're an android and you're there to negotiate the android down. Um, and you have to like walk around in the apartment and get clues and try to get information that will help you negotiate. And there's a little thing that says your percentage to succeed, blah, 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 blah. And
Okay.
then eventually you're shoved out onto the rooftop to try to get this guy down. And it was just fascinating. I ended up saving the little girl, but I had to jump to get her and I brought her onto the rooftop, but I fell as well with the other android. So
Okay.
like I'm basically falling from the rooftop and you close your eyes and it goes mission successful.
I mean, actually, you know me, I hate these types of games, but I kind of like the idea of this. Like, there's that story, but you got to do some investigation before you can kind of don't do it. I, I
Yeah.
mean, sounds
So
kind
that's
of
not the
intriguing.
whole game. There's three
Oh, yeah, yeah.
androids. There's
Yep.
three androids. Connor, who's the investigative robot. Kara, who's sort of the housekeeping robot,
She
and
hot?
then Marcus, who's also like a housekeeping robot.
Hmm. So you
Marcus is
play as all three of them.
yeah. All the chapters you play as a different one. It goes back and
Okay.
forth. Um, Kara is like a housekeeping robot for just an abusive, nasty dad, right? And his daughter, he's abusive to his daughter, and whatever. Marcus is a kind of a helper android for this old artist who's kind of like harder to get around the house. He like makes him dinner and stuff like that. He's like that kind of android. And then Connor is like this special one that solves crimes. And yeah, man, holy crap. There were so many great moments in this game, so many twists and turns. Definitely cried several times. And the thing I loved about this is there's so much variety in the gameplay. In fact, I did the first mission twice. I did the first mission, save the girl.
Mhm.
That was when I was testing out the game. Then when I went to really play, I saved the girl and didn't die. So I was able to save the girl and myself. And then I actually, after I finished the game, I had Michelle play just the first chapter,
Mhm.
and the little girl died. She
That's
missed the little girl. So just three
fucked
different
up.
results right there in chapter one. But I replayed my final
I'm
mission.
sure Michelle probably turned it off after that.
She was mad about it, and I was ribbing
I
her.
would be too. You'd be like, "That didn't happen for me."
I was like, that poor little girl. I replayed my last chapter where you kind of get the endings, and I played it one time, and I got such a different ending just by making some different choices and
Hmm.
different things happening, whole scenes that I didn't see before. It was absolutely fantastic. Instant narrative classic. If you love narrative games
Is
and
this
haven't played
newer
this
too, or
one,
no? You said it was older. You just
this
never
is, I
played it.
think, 2018.
Oh, jeez. You did 2018 games.
I guess so. Yeah. It is fantastic. Like, so I ordered a hoodie that is designed around this game. I mean, like, I'm just like, I'm all in. Like, I was buying merch and
Wow.
whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, yeah, fantastic. It's so good. And the chapters are broken up, so they're pretty short. You can sit down and play through a chapter, and it's a
Mhm.
nice way to like, you finish a chapter and you're like, okay, let me go do something. And, it's not like you're stuck in it. Cause even like some other games, they'll have fewer chapters and they're like multiple hours.
Yep.
It was always a nice break, and you can stop the chapter and it's almost like you get a whole little story in the next chapter and the next chapter.
Hmm.
Absolutely fantastic. I do want to play it again, for sure. I'm not right now, but I'm going to come back and play it another time at least.
Nice.
Yeah, great, fantastic, absolutely amazing.
The last game I want to talk about that I played was something that I wanted to play for a while. I booted up my NSO, charged my N64 controller, and I've been playing a little bit of Jet Force Gemini, John. I remember
This is
back when
your
we did our
favorite
it's
N64 game, right?
this is one of my favorite N64 games, and I really haven't played it in some time. I have the cartridge for N64. How often are you going to boot up the N64? I mean, it's like
Never
never.
going to boot
No,
up.
you're just not going to. Uh, so yeah, this game, man, this is just a fun, good game. If you don't know, I'm assuming you've seen the movie Starship Troopers.
No, I haven't actually.
What?
I
Put
haven't.
those on your to-do list this week, or between now and next episode. That's your homework.
Right.
Um, Starship Troopers is one of the best movies of all times. But essentially, it's similar to that. It's about, well, I'm going to talk about the game. The game is about these different types of aliens or buds. They're really buds. They look like ants and a lot of other types of buds. And you're a Jet Force Gemini. You're like this essentially group of good guys. There's a guy, a girl, and like this robot dog that you end up playing between the different characters. But it's like a third person shooter game, right? And you're saving what looks like these little ET looking Ewoks guys. And you go on their different planets. Sometimes you fight on spaceships, but the levels. This is a Rare game made by Rare, and the level design is fantastic. The different upgrades and unlockables. There's tons of little things you can find and collect throughout the levels. Um, it's just a classic old school N64 type style game where you're just, and I hate to call it a Metroidvania game because I think of Metroidvania, I think of like a 2D game.
Yeah.
Personally, it's not right. There's definitely things you need to come back later in the levels to play when you have more upgrades for different characters that you can now fly or you can do these or grapple, etc. But it's just a fun, balanced game. I love it. The biggest hiccup, as expected, is just the controllers. It's just super hard to play any type of third person 3D shooter game without a double joystick, right? So
Yeah.
you have to hold R. It will it kind of does a decent job at auto aiming when you're just running around shooting with the trigger. But if you hold R, you can manually aim, but then you're not moving, right? So you just stand out in the open and you're trying to move the joystick to aim. Meanwhile, people are just firing at you, so it's hard. It's really hard for that. And I get frustrated a lot with that because it's not that hard of a game, but that makes it so much harder. Uh, I probably played again between 5 and 7 hours of this so far. Probably played like 5 or 6 full levels, and it's bringing back a lot of nostalgia. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll be able to just play through the whole thing simply because of the controls. One
Mm-hmm.
thing I haven't done is I haven't tried it with like a pro controller, but probably makes or handheld. I only really play this on the TV um, when I have a little bit of downtime. But it's so much fun. This would be an awesome game to remake. I truly think that. Will it ever happen? Probably not. No, it's not going to happen. But
They're probably collecting some analytics on how many people are playing the game on NSO
it's
first.
yeah, that's a good point. I gotta keep playing then. I gotta
They're like,
finish it.
oh, there's a fan base here. Let's remake this.
It kind of is like a cult classic, right? There's a lot of people that played this. It's funny too because there was one or two things I decided on to look up, like the strategy guide, and I talked about nostalgia. Remember the old school like cheatcc.com strategy guides where it was like that typewriter
Mm.
text, like that was a lot of the guides because no one really remade these guides. There was like a YouTube playthrough for like 12 hours, and I guess it's probably the best one because then you can physically just watch it. But I saw a bunch of those old school guides. Like I remember look, these that brings back. Used to print them out and have them handheld so you'd have them at home. But yeah, Jet Force Gemini on the NSO. It's a great game if you can see through the controllers and the old school poly graphics. But
Ugh,
it's
no,
it's
I
the
can't.
problem is if behind all of that, it's a really solid game. It truly is. So
It's
we'll see
amazing
how
we
long.
lived like that with
I
because
know.
back then we didn't know better, right? Like it was
Wow.
the
We
game was
we
really popular and fun because we didn't have another way to play them. Once games started getting to that, it was like there's no way you could go back, and that's what
and it's
makes
weird.
these
Yeah,
games so
and we
tricky.
got good at those controllers,
Yeah,
right? Like we were good at it, right? And then we were playing them. Like now you go back and it's harder. It's not like you're good anymore. You'd have to just play that a lot, right? So, and
right.
especially as a shooter game, it's not like Zelda, right? Like if we went and played Majora's Mask, which I have, or Ocarina of Time on the N64, it's not as bad because it's not really a. Or
You
maybe
don't
it
have
was
to
designed to
react. Well,
better.
it had the Z triggering, so
It
you would
did.
lock on. And that was the first step to sort of fixing
Correct.
that sort of
You're
thing. And then
right.
the DualShock came out during the N64's lifetime. And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually we went to GameCube, and GameCube
Least,
still had a weird sort of funky controller, but it did
yeah, it didn't.
have the
It
stick.
wasn't really a dual stick. It was just the C buttons and a joy. Yeah, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, yep. Jet Force Gemini. Give it a look.
Jet Force. My last game, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. I've been waiting for this one since they announced it. Nothing I've got nothing to say about the game really. Last of Us Part 2, just all-time classic of all time. That both games are just absolute must-plays. And because Last of Us Part 2 looked amazing in 2020, so don't buy this game for the remaster part, but what this is like a $10 upgrade if you owned this game on PS4.
Mm-hmm.
For $10 you can basically buy a PS5 version,
Oh,
and the graphics are similar. The frame rate's probably better. I can't remember what the frame rate was, but you're going to get a better frame rate because this is a pretty, amazing looking game. So they added the PS5 haptics, so that's nice. But I've been playing. I'm like 7 or 8 hours into the game.
nice.
You feel it, but it's not going to be. There's nothing game changing that's like happened. It's all very subtle and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And that's really what haptics should be. What you buy this game for is there's lost levels, so there's like new sequences, and I'm not sure I've seen one yet.
Mm-hmm.
uh there's new sequences that weren't in the original game, and there is a roguelike mode called No Return. And I've been playing through the game since Friday, and this morning I was like, okay, I gotta stop. I want to play some No Return as I go. I'm not trying to play through the whole game and then play the No Return. Holy crap, Drew, this mode is ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
I flipped the fuck out. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I thought you just replayed certain parts of the game. Like, oh, we're going to put you in the beginning of this chapter over here and you got to play through this sequence. And then
Like a
just like
challenge. Yeah.
any other roguelike, you pick which path you want to go based on what you
Sure.
want to do. And, that's how you do it.
Sure.
No, they will put you in. There's a whole bunch of different scenes. So let's say it starts in Jackson. This is where the game starts off. You're in Jackson. And there is something called Assault. There's a Assault mode, and then there is I forget the other mode right now. But Assault mode is there's going to be 3 waves of enemies, and you gotta kill them all and get through it. And the way it works, I mean, I started off. I'm in a room. There's like multiple doorways. There's like you can't really put your back against anything.
Yep.
And it's like ticking. There's a clock ticking down. 20 seconds till the first wave. And I'm like, what do I do? And I'm like picking up some items and like, what am I doing? Like, oh, there's a crowbar over here. I can use that. And then it's like 20 seconds are up. Here comes the wave. And you don't know where they're coming from. You have to use your senses and that sort of thing. And you're like, oh, I see 3 people coming down the street. And I'm just like, holy shit, like trying to hide and whatever.
Yeah.
And you have to try to kill them. And then you go, and then they give you 20 seconds till the next wave. My heart was racing. I was like stressing out. It was
Those
like
types of things get me going. I agree. I know exactly what you're talking
scared.
about.
I was legit scared. I've played through Last of Us Part 1 twice. I've played through Part 2 1.5 times. It was just a whole different feeling than playing the game. I've been playing the game since Friday, and I'm never like stressed out. Yeah, there's sequences with the clickers, and I'm like, oh god, but I'm not like freaking out. If I die, I die, and then I just do that sequence again. This is a roguelike, and you have to like try to maintain your health because you're not going to get it refreshed at the end of the run. And what's really cool about this is while you're doing this and trying to accomplish the goals of that particular leg of the run, you're trying to collect the standard Last of Us things, water, fabric, things like that, scissors that you can use to create items, create health packs and whatever. So you're trying to like fight these guys or hide from them while you're like picking stuff off the tables and looking in drawers. I'm in a room and I see 2 guys. They're coming around. I can see them slowly walking towards the door. And I'm like, ooh, let me grab that water over there.
Are they zombies or no?
Good. Sometimes they are zombies. Sometimes they're people. Then when you finish that leg, you go back to your hideout. And the hideout has a board where you can then go to and then start your next part of the journey. But there's also like a little shop. There's nobody there, but like you buy things from the shop in the comfort of your own home. So you can buy med packs or you can buy new weapons to use. Maybe you buy a rifle. And then you have the table where you can upgrade your gun.
Sure.
What makes this game so good, besides all that, you just have to play it really, because I'm describing a roguelike to you. What makes the game fun is there are so many different challenges and things that if you accomplish, you'll unlock. There's 10 characters, but you start off with 2, Abby and Ellie. Those are the 2 main characters. You can unlock the other 8. You can unlock tons of alternate outfits for the characters. I'm not sure exactly how many there are, but this is like the opposite of Cobalt Core. It's third person. Yeah.
I was going to say, there's no way you would have been able to do all this first person.
Yeah, it's not first person. No, the camera's pretty tight, like one of those. But
okay. Yeah,
no, I can play this one. But this is the opposite of Cobalt Core because there's all these different challenges. But the thing is, when you accomplish a challenge, so for example, if you do 2 encounters, that's like 2 levels in a run with Ellie, you unlock Dina, a different character. Oh, cool. Okay. So immediately I'm like, I want to get through 2 of these because I want to unlock Dina.
Yeah, at least it's motivation. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've unlocked a character. And then when Dina, it's like, well, if you do 3 rounds with Dina, you'll unlock this or whatever. And then there's different challenges. They have one where they're like, if you defeat every enemy with a melee attack in the level, you'll unlock a new outfit for Abby. And you're just like, oh, fuck, I want that outfit, And when it's not like there's a limited number. Like there's bunches of outfits and bunches of game modes that unlock. There are things that happen in each level. There's things called drops, where there's like a little mailbox thing. And if you go to it, it'll tell you what you need to put in the box. And you have to get that into the box. And if you do, you'll unlock an item when you go back to your home base. And it's just like, oh, yeah, I want to do that. There's just so many things that in every given run you want to do. And it of course, all culminated tonight, right before the show. I was on the last level with Abby before the boss. I hadn't beaten a run yet. And I was like, I want to try to do the all melee attack thing. And I got to the third wave and I died, even though I could have easily won the level because I was just trying to melee attack when there's 3 people near me. And I was like, why didn't I just shoot the bastards? Like, what am I doing? But there's so much to unlock. You can unlock the spacesuit for Ellie. I mean, it's just like crazy. So I'm in the beginning of any roguelike where it is you get the full addiction.
Yep.
But you have to let it run because just like with Cobalt Core, after a while, it got grindy fairly quickly. So we'll see where I feel like in 2 weeks, but No Return is so good.
Nice.
It's all I want to do right now is just play No Return.
It's always good when you like get into a game that you're not really sure, and then it's so much more or better than you expected because it's like a surprise.
Yeah, so, I would have bought the whole remaster. I would have bought the whole remaster even if No Return sucked.
No, of course, but you just didn't expect this really big. Like
I did not expect
maybe like a couple hour type thing or something, but nice.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is there's no real big story to it, and they really just reused some of their voice sampling. There's nothing like that the characters say that is unique to this mode. They just basically took their game and then just remixed it and made a roguelike mode, and it's just crazy fun. I feel like I have like a month of unlock, so I'm super excited for it. I love it. I actually am calling it a potential Game of the Year candidate. I'm not saying that officially now, but this could be a Game of the Year candidate. This DLC. That's how much I've enjoyed it so far. But I
don't think I've played a game yet that came out this year.
I guess Cobalt Core didn't come out.
I don't see any in the near horizon either, to be honest.
Yeah, I did play Prince of Persia. I didn't want to talk about it this week. I'll talk about it next week, and it's very good. So that would be one. But yeah.
Well, I guess I'll say really quick. I played the demo, John, and I think I saved myself $50.
It's really good.
I'll say this: super polished. Looks fantastic on the Switch. Super smooth and responsive controls. But I think the whole Metroidvania, the parrying, just not for me, not what I thought it was. Doesn't mean it can't be a fantastic game. Just means it's not for me what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah, you're just not into Metroidvanias. And I don't know why because
I don't know why either.
Games that aren't called Metroidvanias really are Metroidvanias. Like, you're just I will say I had very high hopes for this one. It looked great. It's not hitting the high hopes.
Yeah.
But it's very good, and it does a lot of like unique things that I don't usually see in Metroidvanias. Like there's a part where you lose your map and you're in this, you don't even know where you are anymore. It does some interesting things. It's trying to have an interesting story. I don't know what I'm thinking about it yet, but you get the dash through the air, and the Metroidvanias are amazing because of how they make you feel just running from left to right, and you jump up and you dash, and then you do a double jump and you get on here and you unlock that chest, and then you come back around, you find all these rooms you were in before and couldn't get the treasure, and then you do. It just always feels amazing.
It might just be more of the whole, maybe I'm not just really a 2D guy. I don't know. I mean, besides Mario, but anywho.
Yeah, you're just not into this.
I guess
not. Why don't you read the Manscaped ad? Well, I go get something to drink.
Oh. Cheers to the new year from our friends at Manscaped, because your resolutions shouldn't be the only thing that are well kept. 2024 is a time of new heights, new opportunities, and new look for your Times Square balls. Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on the confidence this new year. Whether you're looking to maintain or trim or go for the clean shaven look, my personal favorite, this trimmer has you covered. Trusted by over 10 million men worldwide, now is your time to get dripping grooming with our exclusive offer. Manscaped.com and use the code NINDADS, NINDADS, for 20% off and free shipping. Happy New Year and happy new balls.
I mean, do you have to choose? You can have both.
Yeah, why not? All right.
Not both.
On to the show, John. What do we got this week?
On to the big show. A couple of quick news announcements. Golden Sun got announced for Nintendo Switch Online. Finally, I think the humorous part of this is if you listen to NVC last week, Rebecca Valentine just made some allusions to the fact that she really wants Golden Sun to come to NSO, and she's hoping by saying it, she brings it into the universe or whatever. And then the next day it came to NSO. Golden Sun, and we knew it was coming eventually. It wasn't a super surprise, but right then and there it came.
Yeah.
So Golden Sun, The Lost Age, they are now out on NSO. So you can check those out. I'm kind of tempted. Have you ever played Golden Sun at all?
I have not. Remember when they showed a bunch of stuff that was coming to the NSO and N64 NSO and all that stuff? Do we know if we got all of those games they've promised us so far, or they're more lingering?
Is that the original announcement, or did they do like an updated announcement with more games?
I don't know. There was an original announcement. Remember when they had all the Mario parties and I think they had 1080 snowboarding then. I forget what else. I'm just curious. I wonder if we got all of the ones they promised, or we missed
whenever they've announced these new systems, they always show a bunch of games that are coming.
Maybe I'll go back.
I'd have to look it up and see. Yeah.
I'll go back and have to see a lot.
Yeah, I might dork around. I usually don't like the older tactics games. There's so much quality of life missing. I'll dork with it and see if I like it. But I'm definitely haven't been like one looking for it. We did get a new Mario versus Donkey Kong trailer. In fact, I think we've got a couple since I put this in the notes.
We have, yep.
The interesting thing is the original game had like between 40 and 60 levels, depending on how you want to count them. This game has 130 levels. So there's going to be new content in this game besides the original levels. They're advertising new obstacles. I imagine those are going to be in the newer levels. A casual mode, local co-op, which is really cool. So this game you can play with somebody. And yeah, it releases February 16th, so we are under a month away. And I'm really excited for this one. I'm looking forward to, like what you were talking about with Cobalt Core, just sitting down, watching a show, getting through some puzzles. These games do tend I like puzzle games, but puzzle games do tend, as you get further and further in the game and they get more complex, and you're just like, oh God, there's like 7 traps and 8 of this, and it can become kind of a headache. It can be whatever, but I'm looking forward to this. I don't think I'll play a co-op, but I'm excited for it. You gonna play it with Amy?
I don't know yet. I'm definitely gonna play it. We'll see.
So there's that. And then, you and I have been watching a lot of television. Is that what the kids still call it? Do we still call it television? I guess we don't really call it television. A lot of content. Watching a lot of content.
We streamed a lot of stuff.
What have you been watching? I mean, we don't need reviews on everything, but
no, I'm going to go rapid fire through some things really quick. And I'll just tell you what they are if you don't know. Blue Beetle, the DC action movie with the kid from Cobra Kai. Have you seen this?
I've seen it. Yep. I enjoyed it.
John, it's pretty bad.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No. The whole what's the guy's name? Lopez? Who's in it? Who's the grandfather?
George Lopez.
George Lopez. The whole fact, and I'm hopefully not spoiling anything here. It's been out for a while, guys. But like the fact that him and the family like come help and fight and these mercenaries and the grandma with like the machine gun, it's just fucking stupid. It's just plain dumb, John. And I'm not a big DC guy to begin with, but like the trailer sold me. The trailer looks great. And I just feel like there was parts of the movie that were fun and solid, but overall the movie was not good. You didn't think so?
It's kind of funny when you can name the same game, same things, and say this is why I didn't like it. Did he just fumble out of the end zone? You can name the same things, and I would name those same things and go, that's what made the movie great. I'm not a big Marvel guy. I find most Marvel to be bad. I find it to be bad. That's totally a touchback. I just find it to be bad. I like when I get something different. This movie a little campy, sometimes a little bad, maybe a little cringy. I hate that word, but like maybe like that at times, sure. But it did something different. It brought the family together. There was some heart in it. I thought the girl was super hot. I just thought it was
Yeah,
interesting. There was less superhero stuff. The Blue Beetle. It felt like it was more of family stuff and whatever. And I thought George Lopez was such a ridiculous character. It was hilarious. So I don't know. I liked the Flash.
I
Nobody liked
haven't
the
seen that. Yeah.
Flash. I liked the Marvels, and I not a lot of people killed the Marvels. It just didn't do well in theaters. But like I thought that was
Mhm.
one of the best movies I saw all year. I liked the Blue Beetle. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It was just different,
Amy
I
said I was
guess.
hard on it too, and I don't know. I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like the best. It didn't have. It was a weird superhero or whatever, but it just I don't know. It just told a different story.
yeah. I watched Gen V. Did you end up finishing this yet?
Yeah, Gen V is fantastic.
So Gen V is a spin-off of The Boys, right? When I don't want to call it Harry Potterish, but it's essentially where they go to school to be superheroes and learn how to really deal with media and the whole nine yards and people. But it was great. It was a fun story. It was great seeing the different superpowers, and it's sexual and dirty. It's just like this series is, and it's fantastic.
I was caught off guard. It is every bit as good as The Boys. It doesn't have The Boys characters. There's a couple cameos.
Yep,
It's a whole different set of characters. It is every bit as good and what you expect from The Boys. If you
agreed.
enjoy The Boys, you
You
have to
better
watch
watch
it.
this.
Just watch it. It's just as good. Just watch it.
I almost hope they do like a whole nother spin-off at that school with different characters and or a season two. I mean, they could, right?
Yeah, they could.
I watched the movie Home Team. You must have seen this, I'm assuming.
No,
So this is a movie um about Sean Payton, right? The football coach,
I'm
right?
familiar with them.
Who got suspended for 1 year. Supposedly they cheated or whatever the hell they did.
Oh,
And he
yeah, yeah,
goes back
yeah.
home and he coaches his kids' youth football team.
Might as
Yeah,
well.
this is a family movie. Like this is you probably watch this with the family.
Is this a
Uh
documentary or is there
no,
like somebody
oh
playing
no.
Sean
So
Payton?
Kevin James, not yeah, Kevin James plays him,
Kevin James plays Sean Payton?
and
I got to see what he
it's
looks
Adam
like.
Sandler produced. So a lot of Adam
Oh.
Sandler's people are in it.
Oh my god, I will never watch this movie. I'm looking at Kevin James with a Saints hat, the
Yeah,
visor, and the motor.
he
No
plays a
way.
different. But listen, he plays a more serious role than his normal self. He
Yeah.
changes it up a little bit. It was fun. I didn't really know the story that well. It's pretty accurate. I looked it up, but
Yeah, Bounty Gate. I've seen Sean Payton like every day for the last year. I can't watch it. I can't. There's no way.
all right, moving on really quick. Gran Turismo, you watched this one yet?
No, I do plan to. It's on
It was good.
Netflix. Is it on
Yeah,
Netflix? Okay,
I enjoyed this
we
one.
are signing up for Netflix. Actually, I should be signing up for Netflix this week. So and it's tops of my list.
Good. All right, I give that one a thumbs up. Watch it.
Wow, that
Um,
is a touchback. Holy crap. Okay.
wow, that is huge.
We are watching, we haven't mentioned we're watching the Chiefs Bills game as we record. So just give us this. We're going to react
Wow,
to it.
that is big. All right. One of my favorite TV shows I've watched in the longest time, and I cannot recommend it more. Monarch Legacy of Monsters. It seems like they're trying to create a Marvel Cinematic Universe of the monsters, which is King Kong and Godzilla and all those other monsters, right? Uh are you into you watch the King Kong movies, right? Didn't we watch these together? The Goodman Goldman?
You ask me
Oh
every
my
time.
god.
No.
This
This
series
is not something I am avoid. I just haven't.
and
I could see
so
getting into it.
this is more into Monarch, the company, not the company, really the secret corporation that's like behind controlling the monsters and like it's the cover-ups and the whole nine yards. Then it is, don't get me wrong, Godzilla is in it, but it's not about Godzilla attacking people. It's really them, the history of it. It's awesome. And if you didn't know, so Russell Crowe is one of the main characters, and there's flashbacks between present day and the past. Super cool part is Russell Crowe earlier in time is played as his son. So it's awesome. The show itself is fantastic. There's so many little nods and twists and throwbacks and like story plots that are like holy shit. It's great. It's 10 episodes. It's on Apple TV. Cannot recommend this show. This was one of my favorite shows I've watched in a long time. And then, like I said, if you went on the rabbit hole of watching the newer Skull Island with what is it, John Goldman or Goodman? I got the two names confused.
King of
Which
Kong.
one?
I don't know. John Goodman, guy from
Goodman.
Roseanne.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in it, and there's a few of them. It's just great show. Go watch it. That's one really quick. Self-Reliant. Have you heard of this one? This is
the
Kendrick.
one with Anna Kendrick.
And what's the
kid? So Drew called it, and he goes, "It's a Kendrick movie."
Well, it's not really.
I thought he was like talking about Kendrick Lamar. I've never heard of Anna Kendrick, a Kendrick movie, and then he said Anna Kendrick, and I go, "Oh, okay, now you're talking my language."
And yeah, it's what's the dude's name from
John Goodman.
No, well, yes, but what's the dude name is Jake Johnson. He's the guy from like Girls or whatever it is. So the premise of this movie, and it's really Andy Samberg's in it. The premise of the movie is Jake Johnson just lives a pretty normal, boring life, and he's walking down the road, and a limo pulls up next to him, and the window rolls down, and it's Andy Samberg, and it's like Andy Samberg's playing him. She's like, "Are you Andy Samberg?" It's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Get in the car." He's like, "Someone paid me to come talk to you, so I'm here just to make my money, and then I'm going to leave." He's like, "You've been selected to be on a reality TV show if you're interested." And they're like, "Okay, like what's the show?" There's the hunters, and it's their job to kill you. And you have to survive, I forget what it is, 30 days. But there's one catch. They can never kill you if you're with another person. Period. So he's like, people think he's an idiot. They don't believe him. He like hires a homeless guy to just sleep with him and follow him around. And he ends up meeting Anna Kendrick, who is also playing the game. So it's like a stupid comedy, but not really stupid. I loved it. There's a Nintendo reference in there, and Anna Kendrick makes a little Mario joke, and it was beautiful.
Stupid serious.
Self-Reliance. Give it a go. Percy Jackson on Disney Plus, but it's not that great. I'm gonna spoil it for you.
My family is into it. They're like every Tuesday they're watching it.
Really?
I read all the books. I've watched the movie a couple times. I saw the second movie once because I quit the first time.
The movie's better, but there's story plots. It's like short episodes, and they're trying to tell too much in one. And I think it's the actors. I don't think the actors are good. I think that's part of the problem.
They're good. They're good kid actors, but it's just boring.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just find it boring. And I know more about this universe than anybody in the room. And they're all into it. And I'm just like, playing Cobalt Core.
It's not great. It's not great. How did they not call that a catch?
That's
no, it wasn't.
They dropped it.
All right, last thing I want to mention, I just watched last night on Netflix a 3-part documentary, The American Nightmare. You watched this one yet? This is up your alley, John.
No. Is it?
You like documentaries, right?
Is it a crime drama, or what kind of documentary?
Kind of. It's about, it happened in 2015. You ever watched the movie Gone Girl with Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
So they say this was the Gone Girl conspiracy, where boyfriend and girlfriend are in the house. Someone supposedly comes in and kidnaps the woman. And 48 hours later, she ends up between that time, the cops and FBI just pretty much say, "You murdered her. Where'd you put the body?" And just keeps making him as like the suspect. 48 hours later, she shows up and says, "I was kidnapped. I got raped, blah, 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 blah. They held me in all this stuff." Nobody believes her. Everyone thinks they're hoaxing everyone and that it was this big scam. And then I'm not going to tell you what happens because you don't have to watch it to find out. But it's interesting. It's 3 45-minute episodes. That's it. Beautiful, short and sweet.
Okay, I might check it out.
Nightmare on Netflix. So when you sign up for it, okay. That's it. I mean, there's other stuff, but those are some big ones.
That's all you watch. Jeez, God, why don't you watch some television? I had on my list Gen V, which we talked about. Great show, fantastic. I've been watching Twisted Metal. And this is more field research for my other podcast, but this is based on the video game series. I have not played a Twisted Metal game in my life.
Wow.
So I could not tell you how much of this story is part of the game or it just has little
I
influences.
love Twisted Metal.
The only thing I knew about the game was the clown car.
Yep.
It's on the covers and everything. That's it. I don't know any plots for any games. I don't know any of the characters for any games. The star of this show is Anthony Mackie, who plays Falcon in the MCU universe, if you needed to know. And his the other co-star is Stephanie Beatriz. She is from the family Madrigal. She is what's her name? Who's the lead character in Encanto? I forget the name.
I don't know her name.
Maribel.
Oh, you wanted that? Yeah. I thought you meant.
So that's who the lead. That's who the co-star is. Huh. I do want to say today I was watching episode 6. One of my favorite SNL cast members, Chloe Fineman, makes a little appearance in there. I love to see Chloe. She's awesome. But this show, it has been really fun. I started off just thinking I'm just going to watch a show and do a review. I had a lot of fun. In fact, the first 10 minutes of the first show will really get you going. Like, you're like, this is going to be a fun ride. This is going to be cool. It's mostly a popcorn movie. It's kind of almost like the reverse of The Last of Us. So it's not as serious and whatever, but it's just a lot of fun. Yeah, there's some critiques to it and whatever, but it's been just a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. It's good. I like it.
Nice. I think I might watch this.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely worth it. And then we have been going through, I can't remember what I mentioned last time, but we have been going through the entire Marvel Cinematic, the main timeline. The reason why is I haven't seen most of the movies. I never watched, before this, I had never watched a Captain America movie. I'd never watched a Thor movie. I've seen a couple of the Avengers movies. I think I saw the last 3. Didn't even see the first one. And the kids have not seen a lot of these movies, because they're kind of young at the time.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going through. Sometimes there's a movie that Michelle and I have seen and they haven't seen. Like, the next up is Black Panther. And I've seen that a couple times. I love that movie, and I'm excited for the kids to see that one. It's one of the better ones. And yeah, so we since the last show, we've watched Iron Man 2, Captain America, The Avengers, Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, Captain America: Winter Soldier, The Avengers: Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Captain America: Civil War, Doctor Strange, and last night we saw Thor: Ragnarok.
Nice. What'd you think of that one? People
Thor
love
Ragnarok
that one.
is easily probably the best Thor movie.
Yeah.
The first
People
2 I thought were
movie.
pretty boring, but I did like seeing Loki. You always hear a lot about Loki, but I hadn't seen Loki in the universe before, really. Thor Ragnarok I think is the best Thor. I think of all of them, I really enjoy the Captain America movies the most. I hadn't seen any of them. Civil War is great. But I really liked all the Captain America movies. What else? Ant-Man was I didn't love Ant-Man.
All right.
Doctor Strange I had seen before. I swear to you, this time I liked it less. It's a very complicated movie with none of it makes sense at all.
I'm not a big
I don't like
Doctor
movies
Strange
like that.
fan.
Yeah, I'm gonna twist my hands and do a time loop. It's just like whatever. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm it's really helping me to build up for the Avenger movie. So when we finally watch Infinity War and Endgame, I think not only will my kids really enjoy those, but Michelle and I will both have a new appreciation.
Are you guys going to go outside of the MCU and start doing some of the shows and stuff eventually, you think?
It's possible. I kind of want to see WandaVision now.
Oh, WandaVision's fantastic.
I like I've always liked the Scarlet Witch. I didn't really know much about Vision. And also I know it's part of the Marvels universe. So I want to see WandaVision. Yeah.
Didn't you watch Miss Marvel, the show, or no?
Yeah, I loved Miss Marvel.
Me too. I love her. And then I'm going to say really quick, Hawkeye was one of my favorites. So much better than I expected.
That's interesting because I don't like Hawkeye himself.
Neither do I. I'm not even a fan. But that one, Kate Bishop's in it too, which is that's Hawkeye. But give that one a go. I think your family would like that one as well.
Maybe. I'm looking forward to seeing Black Panther next. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Black Widow movie that came out in 2020. That's just one of those I never would have seen because of just I don't even know. I just want to see what that one's all about. And then, like I said, I want to see Infinity War and Endgame again with a new lens. So yeah, we've skipped the Guardians stuff because we've seen the Guardians. We're skipping the Spider-Man. We've seen that over and over again. We're gonna skip the Marvel stuff. We've seen that, but yeah, we're kind of getting on the back half here. So it's been good.
Nice.
I'm really excited we've done this.
Sweet.
And that's it. That's what I've been watching.
All right, John, let me tell you quickly how I accomplished my Damon achievement.
You don't do anything quickly.
Well, I am. I'm going to tell you how I beat.
You do one thing quickly, Drew.
That's not even true. Slay the Spire. I beat it. I beat the game. If that's a thing, right?
Did you beat it? I don't know if you beat it.
I guess I didn't beat it.
You didn't beat it.
You got to keep in mind here. I have almost 500 hours in this game.
And that's just on the mobile, right?
Just mobile. This game is great for a morning coffee or taking a shit. I come in waves. I'll play this game hardcore for 30 days, and then I won't play it for like 2 months, and then I'll come back to it. Anyways, I beat it. What I mean by I beat it is when you beat a run, you said it earlier, you unlock Ascension level 1, Ascension level 2. Every Ascension level is very more difficult. And there's 20 Ascension levels, and I could never beat Ascension level 20. The reason why it's so hard is when you get to the final boss, you have to beat 2 final bosses with no healing or anything like that.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So I played as the Silent because I was playing as some other ones. I just couldn't. The Silent's probably my favorite character because you can either go down the poison road or you can go with the Shiv deck, which is this like rapid fire, small amounts of damage.
Very distinct strategies with the Silent. Yeah.
There's a few cards that you can get in this that are wicked powerful, right? There's the one poison deck that if you put it on a character or an enemy, and that enemy dies, it gives that amount of health to every other person, right? So if I put this curse on you and you have 50 health total, it will do 50 damage to every other character, right?
Yep.
So when we got to the final boss, the first boss I had to fight was that donut thing and that triangle thing, which there's like 2 bots, there's 2 of them, there's 250 health each. Well, I put the curse on one, so all I really had to do was kill that one boss quickly, and then the other guy would have died.
Mm-hmm.
By that point, all of the relics I had like the +4 Shiv. I had the +4 if you have any cards that have 0 that requires 0 energy.
Yeah.
So like my Shivs were doing like alone like 18 damage. So I had multiple ones. And then I had the relic where every time you use 3 attacks in a turn, it adds 1 strength. So there was turns I was using turns I was using 9 cards because of all the Shivs. So every turn I was gaining 3 extra strength. So like there was times my Shivs were like by the end of that first boss battle, we're doing like 40 damage a hit.
Yeah.
The other thing I had is I had 2 fairy bottles, which means I could die really 3 times before my game was over, which is impossible. So when you do the final boss, you have to be able to have some type of resurrection. That's the only way you're going to be able to beat it. And then the second boss, I was just so ready to go that I don't think I had a lizard's tail, did I? No. So I had only 107 health. I didn't like nothing too crazy, and I just dominated, John. I just fucking did it. I dominated it. I beat it. Now I need to go beat it with the other 3 characters, and that's going to take some time. So,
well, there is a way to defeat the heart, right? And involves getting the 3 keys on a run.
Oh, and I've done that. I've done that multiple times.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You have
okay.
To beat the heart, you have to beat the game with all 4 characters.
Mm-hmm.
That unlocks the keys, and then you have to get all of the keys. You beat a boss, and then after you beat the boss, you have to fight the heart. And if you fight the heart, it explodes. I've done that before.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
and then you have beat it. Yeah.
So I ideally so what pisses me off is I got like a couple achievements for beating A20, but like if you go to the Silent on the main screen, it just says like A20. There's no star. There should be something that shows I beat A20 on the Silent.
Exactly. It doesn't look any different.
So for example, I have A20 unlocked on the Ironclad, the screen looks exactly the same between the two. So that was frustrating.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
What makes Slay the
Spire.
Spire so fun is when everything synergizes and you feel like you are an unstoppable force. Like no other game I've ever played. You're like,
Agreed.
holy shit, I am a freaking beast right now.
Yep.
But then the pain of Slay the Spire is nothing ever comes together and you just go out in a whimper.
Yeah. You should die in the first level.
Yeah, a good Shiv run is so much fun. So much fun.
So that's it. I beat it. I'll keep playing it, but I beat it.
Very nice. I'm impressed. What I wanted to talk about is that the Switch has become my second system officially. It is weird.
You're dead to me. You're dead to me.
But
you know what? I get it. I actually get it.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's not a lot to play right now.
I don't know when it happened, but yeah, like I am like I'm always more focused on whatever game I'm playing on the PS5, which right now is Last of Us Part 2. And, you know, my side game is Monster Hunter World. That's like my comfort game to play. And I think a lot of like, since I got the Portal and I have the ability to play it anywhere in the house, and the Portal performs really well. I'm just like, there was like for the last couple months, right? Like I enjoyed Cobalt Core for a bit. I've enjoyed Prince of Persia, but still like it's mostly me playing the Switch at night during TV time. I don't have a game on the Switch that I'm like really into, and
it's tough right now with games.
Yeah, and I don't even know what's coming out. Like Mario Donkey Kong, I'm excited for, but it's going to be a puzzle game that I play on the side. It's not going to be my main passion.
No, it's going to be a game to play alongside another game. I feel like.
Yeah, and I don't know when. There's nothing on the horizon. I've thought about replaying Tears of the Kingdom again.
Jeez,
but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to replay or just pick up where I left off.
Just do more quests and stuff.
Yeah. Part of me kind of wants to replay it, and part of me doesn't want to replay it. So I can't figure it out. And part of me kind of wants to replay Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And so I can play.
No, that game was the worst one.
I haven't played the DLC for it, and now I think I could just totally play the DLC. I think it's standalone.
I'll tell you what, whoever it was
that
on the Nintendo dads that predicted Xenoblade Chronicles X, that got me excited because I liked that one.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I actually have that set up downstairs on my Wii U to play there, but I'm never going to realistically, because I can't devote 80 hours to a game. Or I mean, the games use like 65 hours down in my basement. I'm just not really.
Yeah.
Give me like a month off from work and maybe I'll just like hang out, but
I hear you.
Not going to happen. Maybe I'll just play the DLC. I think it's standalone. But yeah, I need something to get really wrapped into. And
Me too.
The Switch is not doing that. But it, like I said, with Cobalt Core, whatever, these little side games, they're fun and whatever. But where is like the meaty game that I want to play? It's either not there, or it's a remaster, or I'm gonna play that version on my PS5. It's just become
you're playing 2018 games left and right.
Well, you know what? If it's new to me, I don't care when it came out.
I agree.
Yeah, like
I'm not. Force Gemini is new to you too. 1999.
Yeah, exactly. It's just damn. No, they need Detroit Become Human on the Switch. Actually, I'm waiting for the Switch 2, and I'm waiting for some juicy games to come out. And man, I'll play a lot on that Switch too. You know, give me some improved games. I want to play some Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on there too. But yeah, it's just right now it's my second system. My hours are going to be higher on my PS5 right now. It doesn't mean I don't love my Switch, but it is. I said they should have did an updated Switch 2 years ago, and it's just ridiculous.
Well, you know what it is at this point. Now it's the games, right? Now you know the game library that you want or need.
Yeah, we need some. I still can't even think of like what games are coming out that I'm really excited for.
I said it. I've been playing a ton of Backlot. I think I'm going to continue to play Backlot for the next few months, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
that's where I am. All right, let's go through some questions before we do our predictions. Our first question is from Taparanma. Since Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom just came out in 2023, what major launch titles could the Switch 2 have if it does release in 2024? So this is a good question. You know, we've seen.
When did Xenoblade Chronicles 3 come out?
It was last year. It was 2022. I'll look that up. But what are you suggesting here?
Could there be Xenoblade Chronicles 4? Or is that
No,
a
no chance.
yeah,
But there could be an X.
okay.
But I mean, it'd
I
be a
agree. 3
4.
was massive, so I do agree with that.
Yeah, I think
They're
because
not making another
two came out in 2017. Don't forget. So it was 5
yeah.
years till we got 3. In between, we got a remaster of the first game.
And we did Golden Torner, which was the standalone DLC, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be
2
2027
was,
if
by
they
the way,
continue it.
2 significantly better than 3. All right, anyways, it's totally sidetracked. All right,
Yeah.
what other big games? I mean, there's the obvious, right? I'm trying to think of the non-obvious ones that should be launch titles.
I want to go against what he said. I know Mario Wonder came out this year, but that's a 2D game, and I see those as different franchises.
Yep, different
I have been a
publishers or
big believer
developers.
that the launch lineup is going to be epic for the Switch 2 because they learned. I don't know why these companies don't learn, but they learned you should only launch a console with a big first party exclusive game. And when the Wii U launched, it did not have that, right? It had like New Super Mario Brothers. Breath of the Wild got the Switch rolling, and they're not going to launch a Switch 2 without a big game. It doesn't mean that game won't be on the Switch as well.
You need a massive game, and then you need a follow-up massive game like 6 months later.
Yes.
I think you need 2 massive games within the first 6 months.
So here's what I think it is. I think it's going to launch with the new 3D Super Mario game, whether that be Odyssey 2 or hopefully just something different. I don't really want to see an Odyssey 2, but I want to see another creative 3D game. And I think that's going to be coming on launch day for the Switch and the Switch 2. And then I think the game that you get a little bit later is most likely going to be a Mario Kart 9. Is exactly how it worked with the Switch. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which wasn't even a new game, came out a month later and set the world on fire because people wanted to play Mario Kart with their friends. And I don't think Mario Kart 9 should be a launch title because I think you want to get Switches out there. Right? But
so you got to have a launch-ish type title that's going to showcase whatever Switch 2's online is, right? And I'm sure we have some predictions later we'll talk about, right? But whatever that is, whether there's voice chat or if it's NSO or some achievements or some new thing, you want to showcase that with an online game. And I don't think Mario's going to be your online game. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree. I think you need something that showcases that.
Yeah,
good question. It could be a lot of things, but I mean, it has to be Mario. I think that's the safe simple answer.
I also think I don't know if it comes out right away, but Animal Crossing would be another big one, and it would be like huge. A Switch 2 exclusive Animal Crossing.
Agreed.
I don't think the next Animal Crossing will be on the Switch as well. I think that's going to be the thing to try to carry people over, but I think you have to wait until Switches are available. So you don't want to put it too close to the launch window because you're going to have a lot of people who just get locked out of the game. And it makes them angry. So
100% agreed, right? You want that to come out when it's inventory because now you get those non-video gamers, just like when Animal Crossing came out, want to buy a Switch.
Yeah.
And if there's no inventory, then they get frustrated and they won't buy it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the early launch window games, whatever, should be on both systems. Because there's 100 gazillion Switches out there. Why wouldn't you? But you have to have strategically. Got to strategically have that one or two where it's not. Even if you could put it on, you just say, look, you should really get the new hardware so you can see our games.
Yep.
But it's a good question. Obviously, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out 3.
Yes,
that would be great. I mean, they're not systems. Donkey Kong would be a good one too, but I don't know if that sells systems or not, so I don't know.
I don't think it does.
All right, got a question from Dylan. Dylan was a little mad at me. I think he was a little mad. He's always mad at me, honestly.
Okay.
So on the last episode, you were playing Avatar, and I said, look at you playing big boy games.
Yeah.
And then you used the term big boy games to describe it. Like you had no problem with it. You knew what I was talking about.
Sure.
Dylan said, I don't really like how you referred to Avatar as a big boy game. What makes a game a big boy game? Is Monster Hunter not a big boy game? Is it just only World? That is, I tell you this, Dylan's mad at me because I played Monster Hunter World instead of Rise, but that's a whole different topic.
Well,
is it only a big boy game? Let me finish the question. Let
done.
Alex Trebek finish. Is it only a big boy game because it isn't on Nintendo? There you go. That's the anger right there. Right there. That's what it is.
Well, I looked at it as a big boy game, graphically wise, to be blunt, right? I mean, I played Monster Hunter Rise, not nearly as much as you guys played. Um,
No, not even close, pal.
Not even close, right? And I don't know, Monster Hunter Rise is a fantastic game. I'm not gonna even hide that. I mean, I rolled credits, but I know that's like literally just like the pre like the prologue, right?
That's
That's
the
just a
tutorial, yeah.
tutorial, right? I get it. But no, I mean, I think for me, honestly, it was the first time I really played a game outside of a Nintendo system. Let's be honest,
Mhm.
and I think the graphics were that much better. Um, but no, yeah, I mean, if I played Tears of the Kingdom, I'm not saying it's a big boy game just because it's a big open world game. I think for me, it literally was just graphically wise. But I don't know what your thoughts were.
Yeah, I I see Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom as big boy games.
They are, yeah.
I think you play like classic retro style games, or you play smaller games or indie games or whatever. And what I see as big boy games are the kind of games that you buy, and it's like a game you play from the first minute, and it's all about collecting and advancing and grinding and leveling up, and you could play it for 50, 60, 70, 80 hours.
Hmm.
Those are kind of
Agreed.
big boy games. And, historically, those are not the games that you have played. You played The Witcher 3,
I did.
which is like the big boy game that you play besides the two Zelda games. And then you kind of like stopped like halfway through as
Hmm.
well. So that's what I meant. I definitely don't think it applies to Nintendo or not Nintendo. There are some big serious games on other consoles that don't come to Nintendo because of, they don't want to port it over or what have you. But yeah, that's what I meant. And Monster Hunter is, I don't even consider Monster Hunter like big boy game. It's a different thing. That's just like a whole different game style, whatever. Size, world, it doesn't matter.
It's more mini missions. I felt like more than like an ongoing open world exploration game.
Yeah, it's all about the grind, the looping,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. It's kind of a different thing. But yeah, I'm not gonna like say, oh, this game's big boy, that game's not big boy, whatever. But clearly, like Avatar is the kind of game you don't normally play. What
Okay.
did you play earlier? You played Silent Hope, Cobalt Core, like those are the games. And you were talking to me today about Skull. Like,
This, yeah,
like
the Hero
Drew has a
Slayer.
style. Like when Drew writes me, he's like, I'm looking for a new game. And then what he'll normally do is pick out some game that I probably haven't heard of or that like nobody else plays. And then it'll be like, it's on sale, or I found this game, it's only $3. And you and I are different like that.
Yeah.
Like to me, I don't care if a game is like cheap. It's like, but I have to invest time into that game.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you'll find games and be like, oh, this game was only $2. And I'm like, okay, but that's like, I'm not playing that, So,
Yeah. 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 Man of
but
Spark.
those games are play some levels, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you'll probably play some more big boy games on your Luna.
It's possible.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely Ubisoft games can be big boy games, but
Missed it.
we'll see.
Missed the
He
field
missed it.
goal.
Oh boy.
Wow.
That is Norwood moment right
Wow.
there. Is that the game's over now?
Yeah, pretty much.
That sucks. Dude. Oh, Rizzle,
Like
I feel you
really
right
missed
now.
it. Really missed it.
Uh,
Sorry.
I do not like the Chiefs. I'm a Broncos
Me
fan.
either.
That wind, like the wind, like the
It must
flags are
have been.
down. It looks like the wind just like took it. I wish I had the sound on right now because the
I
disappointment.
know.
Oh, let's see his face. Oh God, he's gonna go in lore. Oh, that's gross.
Jeez.
All right. Last question. This is from Hoots. He got this conversation going on the Nintendo Dads podcast. The Nindads talk of the Messenger and Sea of Stars on the podcast last week got me thinking. I know John's been watching this story unfold. Yes, I have. So I thought I'd ask it here first. But I found this YouTube video that took an objective look at the completionist charity debacle. It's really long, so don't feel like you have to watch the whole thing. But hopefully you've got enough time to do so with me asking this early. But my actual question is this. At the end of last year, Sabotage decided to begin work to remove Gerard's likeness from Sea of Stars, all before a final conclusion has been reached on Gerard's allegations. I very well could be inflating his contributions, but considering how big Gerard's role was in bringing commercial success and goodwill to both the Messenger and Sea of Stars, it feels like Sabotage was incredibly quick to bite the hand that fed them. What are your thoughts on this? Would you turn away a high-profile donor in a similar situation prior to that donor receiving a guilty verdict? There's a bonus question, but I don't know if you know much about this situation at all, Drew, with the completionist.
I do not.
But the 30-second crib notes is the completionist is a very well-known YouTuber who's actually done events for
Know of
Nintendo.
him. Yep.
Yeah. And he has a charity that he started for his mother who died of dementia 10 years ago. It's a family charity, and this game is over. And he has been saying he's been doing Indie Land for the last 3 or 4 years, I think, which is kind of like an indie direct. And he gets companies to show off their games, and he raises money, blah, 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 blah. He's obviously been on G4. He's gotten stuff. He's gotten endorsements from Nintendo, blah, blah, blah. So you know him. It turns out that despite for years talking about how he's giving all this money to dementia charity, he has not. He has not given one dime of the money that he has raised. So he's sort of a middleman charity. He raises money. You give him the money, and then he'll take that money in a big chunk and give it to an organization.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Yeah.
They had not given one dime to dementia research in the 10 years the charity existed. And a couple of dudes figured it out thanks to public tax returns. And they basically contacted him and said, "This is what we see. Do you want to make a statement?" And he went on a Discord call with them and basically said, "Yeah, I found this out last year that we didn't give any money to charity." Like, what the fuck? And so he has just taken a lot of abuse. And yeah, long story short, it is very much true. They did not donate any of the money. His excuse was they're trying to find the right charity to give it to, which is absolute bullshit. It's been 10 years. Yeah. And the money you gave 10 years ago has been sitting in an account helping nobody.
Or gone, for all we know.
And if you would have donated it directly to the charity, it would have been going to good use. And what I like to say is people that donated that money saw 3 versions of The Last of Us released, and they still hadn't donated to charity, right? Okay. That's all confirmed and true. Now, the motivations behind doing that are not known, right? We don't know if they're skimming it off the top, or he's just using that charity as a way to get inroads with Nintendo and look how good I am and look what the good I'm doing. Can you come on my show? Can Reggie Fils-Aimé come talk to me because I'm doing this for charity? If he's just using it for that sort of influence, we don't know that stuff. And Hoots mentioned, there hasn't been a guilty verdict or whatever. Hoots, we don't need a guilty verdict, right? We know that what he's done is very bad. I don't care if it's illegal or illegal. I don't care. But this is bad. For years he's saying we are donating this. We're donating every money you give. We just send it along, and they haven't. Yeah, he shouldn't be doing content anymore. Nobody should be following him. Look, I mean, his family. I don't know what his family has done or whatever, but he's the face of this, and I don't think it really matters. Was it charity fraud? I don't know. Some people say that is the definition of charity fraud. I don't know. I think right now you'd like the IRS to investigate. You like to get some information, get these people under oath and see what happened. But this is a person that should not be doing content. People shouldn't be supporting him. People should definitely not be donating to his charity. Just donate it directly. You don't have to go through him. He's not the owner of this research money. So should Sea of Stars have taken him out of the game? Abso-freaking-lutely, he should be taken out of the game. If he gets found innocent of charity fraud and blah, 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 none of it matters. He was lying the whole time. He wasn't donating this money. He shouldn't be in there. I don't know how responsible he is for the success of Sea of Stars. I think that's overdone. They built a great looking game that got, 2 of the Nintendo dads gave it Game of the Year. I don't think their success is thanks to Gerard. So, I mean, they put him in the game. I don't know if there was some contract or whatever. But yeah, his presence in the game is just like, ugh, gross now. So, yeah, I don't think there needs to be any kind of guilty verdict or whatever. For his sake, I hope he doesn't go to jail or anything like that. We don't need that. I don't really care, but like they should look at it. That's a very serious charge, and clearly, you know, he was trying to pay off the two guys that discovered this information. He basically was like, "Can I bribe you?" Not in those exact words, but they recorded the conversation. He's basically like, "What do I need to do that this information doesn't get out?" I mean, like, like that's basically like, "Can I bribe you?" We're Italian. We know how it works. You don't make it obvious. You work in waste management. His bonus question is, what's the likelihood they'll introduce a completionist toggle into the game if it's determined Gerard is innocent? Absolutely, it's never happening. He's never going to be in the game again. He doesn't need to be. There's no importance to it, so why do it? There's no toggle. But good question. I think that should be talked about. And I think content creators, there's like this style of they get famous for their content. They do a great job. They edit their own videos and whatever, and they do a good job. And then eventually they try to monetize. You know, you start seeing ads. They start hiring video editors. So they do more of like the writing and less of that side of things. They pay someone, they can put out more content. And then eventually they do a Twitch channel, and then they do advertising and they do Twitch subscriptions. That's sort of the pattern. Peanut Butter Gamer is one that I really loved, but then he just stopped doing the videos. Pro Jared is one that I loved. And he just stops doing videos. They just do Twitch now. And I find it less interesting. Completionist, I think, has always been trying to get out from content creation and be more well-known, but I think that sort of ended. That is done. All right, let's move on to our predictions. Not doing too terribly on time. I'm still really depressed the Chiefs won, though.
I know.
2024 predictions. So, Drew, we're going to do this a little bit different. We are going to present a series of predictions. Some of these are mine. Some of these are yours. Some of these are our listener friends. Some of these are from the Nintendo dads. Some of these are just out on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go through each prediction, and we are going to buy or sell on it. Doesn't really mean much of anything. It's like Drew Carey. But basically, do we believe it or not? For all of the ones that we buy, we are going to rank them at the end of this list. And you and I are going to massage them, and we're going to make a nice list of our 10 predictions for the year.
Yep.
Just as a team. We're not competing against each other to try to see how good we can predict 2024.
Yep, agreed.
Let's go through this list. My first prediction is Prince of Persia will be released this year. No. First prediction is the Switch 2 will have motion controls.
Oh, it's a tough one. You buying that?
I am going to buy this one because I believe the Switch 2 will be very similar to the Switch. And the only way you can do that is with supporting the same type of motion control. Mm-hmm. It might be like a Wii U situation. Remember the Wii U came out and it still supported the sensor bar.
Yep.
But I can't think of any Wii U games that actually used the sensor bar. It was really mostly there for the Wii. So
True.
It supported it, but most of those games used the gamepad and didn't use the sensor bar. In fact, I had my Wii U set up for quite a while without a sensor bar and never had a problem. But I think the Switch 2 will support motion controls, but the games may not use them very much.
I want to almost say sell, but I deep down, I feel like you're right. I think there's a part of me that truly believes is Switch 2 is going to be something. It's not Switch 2. It's NX, right? It's something new. I don't know. But I think the safe answer here is to say buy that.
Yep. Second prediction. We get an announcement for a Zelda or Pokemon amusement park addition to Universal. What do you think?
This is a tricky one, right? I think that we know Japan's working on some type of Pokemon amusement park. I'm gonna go. This is a really tricky one for 2024. We know we're getting Donkey Kong in Orlando, part of their Mario. If anything, this would be in Japan. I'm gonna go buy. I'm gonna buy this for somewhere in Japan.
I am selling on this one. We just got the announcement about Donkey Kong recently.
We
I
did.
don't think we're going to get announcements that fast. Will there be a Zelda or Pokemon one? I think Pokemon is probably more likely than Zelda, and I think it will come as long as they can find some room somewhere. I do not think that's coming in 2024.
I could see it not coming this year as well, but I'm still going with the buy.
So that's a split. I'm gonna do a little buy sell here.
Sure.
In fact, you know what? I'm gonna do it italics. There we go. All right. The Switch 2 will be backwards compatible with Switch and use the same slot for video games. I am absolutely buying this one. I think when they went with the Switch over the Wii U was because the Wii U just wasn't selling. They were going to switch to a cartridge format. They just not enough. I think the Wii U only sold 14 million pieces of hardware, which is insane to think about. It was just their opportunity. They did not have to feel stuck in supporting the Wii U. Plus, that would be tricky. You got the second screen and the sensor bar up there and all that. It was just their opportunity. If the Wii U had sold 100 million units, then they would think about how they can do some backwards compatibility. Maybe they wouldn't have gone to a cartridge. I don't know. But the Switch is a huge seller. People love it. There's just no reason to rethink up some totally different idea. I think it should support the Switch game. The only thing that could stop it is the new generation of hardware from where they get their hardware just is completely incompatible. But you got to think they're making sure that it is backwards compatible. And they've done the multi-slot thing before. I just don't think they're going to do that again. It just adds cost.
I'm going to ask a dumb question, right? So PlayStation Xbox still uses Blu-rays, DVDs. Let's just call it simple, DVD, right? For some games. Is there a restraint on like the SD cartridge that Switch has that would prevent it from 1080 graphics, 60 frames, or no? That's just a legit storage size of the cartridge, right? Do you understand the question? Is there a technical?
I think that the higher res the graphics, the more storage space needs to be on the cartridge, and those cartridges get pretty expensive as they get
to like
bigger and bigger.
CD or DVD is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so, or digital.
So, but there's no physical hindrance or restraint of an SD card. It's just that it would cost more money to put it on an SD card.
Yeah, the restraints are how fast you can read data off the card, like that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know what those restrictions are.
I buy this, right? And remember, buying it doesn't mean is what I necessarily also think is true. I could see Nintendo coming out with a non-compatible, backwards compatible rather, and just say, hey, this is the future here. You want to play Switch, play Switch. But if you're gonna do that, you better make sure you have fucking inventory out the wazoo. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
For the new Switch.
Yep. Next one. This is a U prediction. Stock price hits $17.
So the stock price has been doing very well lately. It's currently at $13.74. So in order for it to jump up that high, that's almost like a 20% increase. But it has been climbing over the last month. It's been doing pretty good. But I'm going to sell this. I think it falls a little short of 17.
Okay. I'm going to sell because I really don't give a shit. I just want to play some games. Yeah, no, but it's not near its all-time high, but it's like a few year high.
No, I think it is at because you got to remember it's split or whatever you call it a while ago. So
how do you keep track of that? Is there like an easy way to keep track of that without like just looking up the history on your own? Is there like a number which represents the price per stock? Like when you talk about money today, you say adjusted to inflation. Is there like that for stock, like adjusted to splitation?
But the current price has hit its 52-week high 10 days ago. So it's not like it's at its high right now.
Yeah, I mean, the chart I'm looking at, it hit its high on. It was at 1627 in 2021.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's right when it split.
Yeah,
You're
and
right.
then it kind of came down, and
Around
now
that
it's
one.
starting to like really rise up.
Get back up.
1393.
Which is interesting because why?
I feel like it should be
Mario
better.
movie, probably to the Mario movie year end and some other things, but
I think there's been a lot of factors over the last couple years. Remember the chip shortages, which we don't even talk about anymore.
Mhm.
I think those have gone away. I know we've invested in chip factories in the country, and I think that's more of a long-term investment. It doesn't just turn overnight. But we're gonna have like chips being produced here, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then I just think, yeah, there's a lot of things like going on with that. But I always feel like Nintendo is just selling like crazy, and it's like the stock doesn't move. And I don't know, the stock market is not really about a company
Direct. Yeah,
doing
it's
well.
not
Sometimes
direct
it's like
sales.
you get people excited about even just a rumor, and
Yeah.
it can be weird.
Agreed.
All right. The next Switch will be non. Would you say non-handheld, or it will sell a version that
It will
isn't
sell a
handheld?
version that is not handheld, right?
Okay. This has been this is always a sexy rumor because you can make a cheaper version that's handheld only, and you can
Mhm.
make a cheaper version that is docked only. Uh so it's like, oh, I don't need all the HDMI, whatever. You could take that all out, just give me a little
Mhm.
box, and that's my Switch. I'd love to see it, but I just don't see Nintendo supporting, what could amount to a docked only version, a handheld only version, a light version of this. And I think just there's a certain number they don't want to do. They want to make as many as one kind of unit. Like Apple does it opposite. They have like a million variations of every
Yeah.
iPhone. So you go to the store and they don't have the one you want because they have all the different colors and all the different storage sizes. It's crazy. I like that Nintendo's like, let's just make a Switch. Okay, anybody can buy this. Let's make another Switch.
But
I
could
don't
you
I
make a
don't think
more
we'll see it.
powerful Nintendo system if it wasn't handheld?
And I don't think they'll do that because then they have to test the games and all the variations. And then do you put a game out that looks better with a docked version, and then you screw over everybody else and people get mad? I don't know.
I get that. Well, it could get tricky with the different.
I mean, I'd
All
like to
right.
see it like a cheaper version, but I just don't think they want to make that many variations. So I'm selling. What are you doing?
I kind of want to buy. I think we're on the. I know the safe play here is Switch 2, but Nintendo doesn't ever do play safe. I think we're gonna get something different. I truly think we're getting something different. I think there will be a non-handheld version.
So we got a little bit of a split. Now, are you saying you want that, or you really think Nintendo will do that?
I don't know. This is just. I just.
This
I
isn't
think
this
it's
isn't
gonna.
about you, Drew.
I
It's
know it's
about
not about me. I guess you're
prediction.
right. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if it was like if I had to gamble, I'm buying it. I'm sorry, I'm selling it. I'm selling it. There won't be one.
Okay. Sold. I like this prediction. Some lame game will release alongside the Switch 2 to show off its new features.
Yeah, Wii Sports, 1-2 Switch,
Whoa, whoa! Wii
etc.
Sports was not lame though.
Well, you get my drift. You get the point of it. What was Wii U's gimmick?
Wii U was Nintendo Land,
That's right.
and
I
Switch
mean,
was 1-2 Switch.
I'm 100% buying this one. Whatever the new gimmick is, there's gonna be a game to show it off.
Okay, I'm gonna argue this because are you saying a lame game or a game will release that shows off the new features?
It's not gonna be Mario. It's not gonna be Zelda. It's gonna be some new IP like Wii Sports or 1-2. It's gonna be a game that is made for this Switch.
Okay.
Just didn't
All right. No,
PlayStation 5 had that game too? What was that one they had?
PS5?
Didn't,
Oh yeah, Astrobot.
yes, it's gonna be something like that. I'm not saying it's necessarily lame, but you get my
Okay.
point.
I removed lame from this
Okay.
statement. Okay, so you're saying a game will be released alongside the Switch 2 to show off its new features.
Yes, it's not going to be like a big franchise game. That doesn't count. This is something that's specific for Switch 2. This is like almost the mascot in a weird way for the first few months.
Okay. I'm not going to sell on that. I don't know if I'm necessarily buying it, but you're buying it, so
I'm buying
going to
it.
put it in the buy category. I don't think a lot is going to be very different about the Switch 2. Probably something. I don't know if there will be a game this time around to showcase that, but
Could.
There's going to be a new Mario Kart on the Switch 2. I am buying this with all of my money.
Yep.
I think
I'll
Mario
buy.
Kart 9 is going to be sort of a new, different looking kind of game. Absolutely, I think there will be a Mario Kart 9, and I think it'll come out very soon in the lifetime, and it will be a Switch 2 exclusive. I think a Switch 2. Maybe it doesn't have to be, but But yeah, I think they've been waiting for the Switch to end before they release a Mario Kart 9. I think it's basically done. Switch 2 announced in winter, spring, released holiday 2024.
I'm selling that.
I am too. What do you think, though? Can we change this? I think they're going to announce it in the summer.
I think my answer is in number 11.
Is what?
See that number 11 prediction? I think that's my answer.
Oh.
I can say it now. We can get there.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
All right. If you're selling this, then
I'm selling this.
I'm going to sell this because I actually think it will be in the summer. But I'm going to change this to summer, and I'm going to put in italics as a split.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because I think it's going to be announced in the summer. I think you announce it in the summer. Once you announce a new Switch is coming out, sales of the Switch will go down. People will just wait.
Sure.
And you want to have a small gap in between. I think it'll be announced in the summer, and then it'll be available in the holiday season. They can get all the games they want to sell before the summer, and then they can start pitching the games that'll launch with the Switch 2. Maybe have one port in between, like a Luigi's Mansion 2, that sort of thing. Maybe that Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door. Those are kind of like the stop gaps.
Yep.
But I think there's going to be like a 3 or 4 month difference between the announcement and the actual release of the new Switch.
Okay.
All right. The Switch 2 will have connected Joy-Cons.
So essentially, it won't have Joy-Cons.
So what I'm saying is, it's going to be like a Switch Lite. It's going to have what we think are Joy-Cons, but they are connected to the system. They cannot be removed.
So yeah, there's no longer Joy-Cons, essentially.
Their Joy-Cons will still work with the console, but you have to buy
they're independent.
Joy-Cons.
Yes. Yeah, I'm buying. Yeah. I'm buying that.
Okay.
I don't think they will be. I think Joy-Cons will be a thing in the past.
I think it'll be similar. It's gonna be similar to the Wii U, where the Wiimotes worked with the Wii U. But the gamepad was the primary controller, but you could still use those Wiimotes.
Agreed.
As part of it. Yeah. Launch title. Oh, this is kind of a double here. Let's separate it out.
The two.
Launch title for we actually kind of talked about this. A 3D Mario game will be a launch title.
Yes, no brainer. Yes, I don't want to say no brainer. I could also see them being dumb and be like, comes out 2 months after the Switch.
Should we say launch window then? Let's say launch window. I think it should be a launch day.
In 3 months, within
if
1
they
month
are,
window.
I mean, it would be super silly to come out with it a month or two later, but we can say launch window if you want.
No, I think it's got to be dated. Like if you're that fucked up that you can't meet the date and it's going to be 2 months after, that's shame on you.
I think you would have Mario done when you announce the Switch 2.
Agreed.
That's it.
I still say I'm buying that.
Okay, me too.
And if not, Nintendo, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, you got to launch with a great title. Here's one. Final Fantasy VII Remake will launch.
I'm selling that. I'm selling. That's the first. That's like part 1, right?
That's part 1.
I'm selling that.
I'm buying this one.
But you got to think about it. Part 2 will be out by then, and I think it's going to be very confusing to say, "Here's this new system with an old game." I don't know.
Rebirth comes out end of February, and there could be literally a 10-month gap, or a 9-month gap, 8-month gap.
It will be confusing. It will be very confusing to the market.
I don't think it'd be confusing.
I think it is.
If it comes out in October or November, let's just say early November, That's going to be a long time after Rebirth. There were rumors when we got the biggest rumors. They were saying they were showing the Switch 2 and it was running Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was a shock rumor. But remember that when they announced the Switch, they had Skyrim running on it, and that was a surprise. So I can see it happening. They have a good relationship with Square Enix. We've gotten Final Fantasy VII on there. It'll be long past exclusivity with PlayStation, assuming it's by game. I think it would be awesome to launch with a 3D Mario and Final Fantasy VII. You get two different audiences, and what a great way to get a different audience in, having mobile Final Fantasy VII Remake.
All right, I'll throw it on there as a buy. You convinced me.
You buying? All right.
I just wanted you to be able to put on your lists.
All right, here's a dour one. There will not be a new Switch
in 2024.
In 2024.
I'm buying this. I think crazy. We're in for a very disappointing year.
You are crazy.
Yeah. Let's actually, you know what? I have two predictions. So let's change the verbiage to, where am I? No. I want to, where am I here? Jesus, what am I doing? No new Nintendo console. And then I'm going to make another prediction under that and saying, no new Switch. All right. So here's what I'm saying. I'm saying no new Nintendo console, period, right?
In 2024?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
I'm trying to say I don't think there's any new Nintendo console coming out this year, but I'm also saying is what's your thoughts on the new console is not a Switch? It's something else.
Well, let's go through it. No new console. I'm absolutely selling. There absolutely has to be a Switch this year.
Whether there has to be or there is two different things. I don't think there's. I think I don't know. I just have a bad sneaky suspicion that we're in a year of disappointment. And God, I hope not. But
I mean, I'm selling. I think the Switch is 1 or 2 years past due. If they don't release it in 2024. I not only might be my second console, it might not even be a console anymore.
This is released, not
released. Released.
But I do agree. I think if they announce it, it's going to be a quick turnaround time.
So you're buying in that there's going to be no new Nintendo console in 2024?
Yeah, I got a bad feeling. I'm not happy about it.
All right. What about no new Switch?
So
what does that mean?
So this means that there will be a new console in 2024, but it won't be just Switch 2. It would be something else.
Okay, so I'm selling on this too.
I'll sell on that one as well. I think we're gonna get a Switch 2 if we get one.
Okay.
I know that contradicts myself, but I'm just saying if one were to come out in 2024, I do think it'd be a follow-up.
I think this prediction is weird because it's not in 2024. You're saying when the next console comes out, it will not be a Switch. But that's also not a 2024 prediction, so I think we should nix this one entirely.
Okay, that's fine. All right, get rid of it.
We're not talking 2025 here. Call of Duty will appear on Switch in 2024.
I'll buy that.
I'm gonna sell that.
Wow.
I think Xbox was blowing a lot of hot air with their weird agreements. Maybe we will get a Call of Duty. I'm not saying we won't. I don't think it'll be this year. Technically, they could do a cloud version, I guess. I don't think we're getting Call of Duty this year.
Okay.
So you're buying, I'm selling. We'll split that.
Yep.
Hold on, press the wrong button. Metroid Prime 4. Let's just say Metroid Prime 4 will appear. Will be released this year.
Playable, yes.
Regardless of Switch. In fact, I'm going to do that with Call of Duty too. It doesn't have to be on a Switch too. Just
correct.
Call of Duty.
Just period. Yeah. I'm selling this.
I'm selling as well. I think it's going to be a Switch 2 only game.
I could see it.
I don't think it's
February,
coming out.
March though of 2025.
Yeah, I think it'll be a 2025 game.
Early 2025 game.
Yeah, I think I think it's a good game to put as an exclusive on the other next Switch because it'll look a lot better.
Yep.
And it's not a game they expect to sell 20 million copies, but if they can make it look really great and make it like sort of a system seller, it's
Well,
not a huge risk for them. If they decided
yeah.
to make 3D Super Mario Switch 2 exclusive, they are losing millions of sales. They can risk on this one.
Do you think this could be like also like their future Overwatch or like an online also multiplayer game? It could
And
potentially.
that's a
Their next
different prediction.
Splatoon, you know what I'm saying? That's a different prediction.
Metroid?
Yeah, I'm just
Their
saying.
next Splatoon?
Not Splatoon. It's
Didn't
their Call
they
of Duty, maybe. What if it's their Call of Duty?
remember they did? That's a whole different thing. I don't even know. People would freak out if this game wasn't a
It's Halo. What if
Metroidvania.
it came out like Halo? Well, I'm just saying it could be both, right? They have their campaign mode, but what if it was also an online mode?
No idea. That I
Anyway,
think Metroid
just
is Metroid. There is an argument that this game will be something different because it's taken so long to make, but that I'm not ready to go Halo or Overwatch or anything like that.
that's true.
They tried that with Federation Force, remember, where it was kind of trying to be like a Rocket League,
Mm-hmm.
and people were so mad.
Stick with what you know, I guess.
So we're selling Metroid Prime 4, not 2024, but we think
That's a buy.
2025.
We both sold it, so that's a bold. It's not coming
No,
out this year.
yeah, so that's not a bold. We're not buying, we're selling, right?
Oh yes, I'm sorry, you're right.
Okay, we're past your bedtime.
No,
Drew.
but you would make it bold if we agreed, I thought. No?
No, I made it bold if we both buy.
Oh, you're right. Gotcha. Never mind. Past my bedtime.
There will be a digital only Switch version option. So
Switch 2 version. Yeah.
I'm
Whatever the new console
assuming.
is.
So I'm assuming this is if we get a new Nintendo console, there will be a digital only version akin to like a PSP Go or an Xbox Series S or a
Yes.
PlayStation 5 digital edition.
Exactly that.
I'm
To
going
be
to sell.
cheaper, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'm going to sell that. That might be something that could come down the road. Maybe I don't think they're going to launch with that.
I'm going to sell it just because I don't think there's a console coming out, but I'll sell that as well.
Yeah. I think when PlayStation and Xbox did it, Series S, even though it's digital only, it's also not really a next gen system. It plays the next gen games, but it doesn't have the power of a Series X. The PlayStation system it played the games the exact same way. It just didn't have a drive. I think that's probably a more approximate thing. But yeah, I just feel like I don't want people getting roped into this or that. And like, if I go to the store and they have a Switch, I want to buy the Switch. I don't want to be like, oh, I don't want that edition. I kind of like maybe do that later, but don't do that at launch. I don't think we'll see it in 2024. Is that's a sell or a split? Did you buy or sell?
No, I said that wasn't going to happen.
Okay.
I sold that.
There will be Zelda Legos in 2024.
That's a buy.
I'm going to buy that too.
I mean, now that we've seen Animal Crossing, I think anything's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, Animal Crossing, those are still coming out, right? Those are still coming out through spring. Yeah, I think we'll get a commercial, and get some Zelda.
Agreed.
I don't know if it ties into a game, just depends, but Animal Crossing didn't have a game, so,
Yeah, it wasn't tied to it, but it was just the lore franchise.
If the Switch is released, if the next console is released, and it looks like a Switch, there will be no OLED on launch, but the screen will be better than the OG Switch. This was my prediction, and I do not think they're going to go OLED again. I would love for them to go OLED again, don't get me wrong. I don't think that's their mass market solution. I think OLED was a smaller market. But if you look at a PlayStation Portal with its 8-inch screen, it's not an OLED, but it's gorgeous, and it's pretty close to an OLED. I don't think we will see the same screen that the original Switch had. It'll be a better screen, but it will be an LCD. So I'm buying this.
So any type of screen besides OLED is what you're saying.
It'll be a better screen than the OG Switch, but it will not be an OLED.
I'll buy there's a lot of other options, right? I'll buy that. It doesn't have to be an OLED. If there might be a cheaper alternative.
Right.
Okay.
If there is a new Mario 3D game, it will be Mario Odyssey 2.
Sell.
I'm selling as well. I don't think we're going to get another Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I think that game was so big they kind of exhausted everything. They're going to go in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a new Zelda game next year. I am selling it as fast as possible.
Well, does that include remasters and stuff, or no? You're saying brand new?
No, because that's the next prediction.
Okay, then I'm going to sell this.
Okay. A Zelda re-release, so this is a remaster, will be announced in the next Nintendo Direct, whenever that is.
I'm selling that. I don't think that. No, I don't think so. I think not, because the expect. No, I'm selling that. I don't think we're seeing a remaster, a re-release, or anything.
I'm gonna buy. I think we will get a Wind Waker or a Twilight Princess. I think Wind Waker. I would love to see a remake of the original Zelda. I think it's probably going to be either Wind Waker or original Zelda remake. But I'm going to buy it. I think we're years away.
Switch, or you think on a new console?
I think it will be on the Switch. Yeah, it'll be compatible with the Switch. I mean, it kind of sucks for just getting ports and remasters and that's it. But yeah. Big boy version console to compete with PlayStation and Xbox. So I think this prediction is, will the next Nintendo console try to compete directly with PlayStation and Xbox?
On par with PS5 and the newest Xbox.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. I'll be specific there.
I think it's on par with PS5. Yep.
Okay.
So
I don't believe
not ahead, but it's current generation console. It's not one generation behind.
There was a rumor that somebody was quoted as saying that it is on par with PS5, and I never agreed with it because I don't think it's easy to tell visually when something is on par with PS5. If something is on par with PS4, I mean, I've seen Last of Us Part 2 on a PS4. That's going to look like a PS5 game. I think it will be on par with PS4. And that's all I really want.
So you think it'll still be one generation behind?
It'll be one generation behind because really the Switch right now is on par with. I feel like it's like an Xbox One, the original Xbox One maybe, which was not as powerful as a PS4. I think I'm going to say a little under an Xbox One actually.
You got to remember the biggest problem with going behind generation is it's not Nintendo, right? Nintendo's games are designed to work on not the best of the best. Yeah. It's the third party, right? So it comes down to, does Nintendo want to make the next console that's going to be a welcome in to their third party games and compete?
Yep.
That's the question. Do they care enough nowadays, or are they still in that mentality they don't give a shit? Right? I think that's what it comes down to.
I don't think they should be trying to compete with the big boy systems because it's going to make their hardware more expensive. And then how do you differentiate yourself? Just portability? I think I've heard people say
software franchise.
I have heard people say that the next console will be $400. I don't agree with that. I would be glad to pay $400 for some really beefy hardware. I think it's going to be about $350.
No way. I think it's more. I think it's $500.
You think what?
$500.
You think the next Nintendo console will be $500?
$450 to $500. Yeah, I think it will. How much was the OLED? $350? There's no way. There's no way you're getting one for under $400 for a new generation one. It's not happening.
I do not anticipate it'll be $400, but I think if it's $399, then I'm like, okay, there's no way it'll be $500.
I think there'll be two versions. I think there'll be a $399 version and a $499 version. That's what I personally think.
What do you think's going to separate them? OLED
I don't think it's going to be a handheld. I think it's going to be but you said something earlier in the show that brings up great points, right? As soon as you start introducing two levels of a system, now you have that testing, and it's a software problem where it works well on one system and not well on the other system, right?
Yeah.
So I get that part of it, which is tricky.
Yeah.
But That's a tough one, but I do think it's going to be 4 and 500. I don't know maybe exactly what the big differences are yet.
Okay. I'm going to call that a split.
Okay.
Last prediction, there will be a Mario sports game of some kind in 2024.
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm going to go even further and say it's going to be very specific here. This is going to be like a spin-off similar to, remember T&C Surf Design?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like that, and it's going to be a summer game, and it's going to be, I guess I'm really describing Mario Olympics at this point, but it's going to be something like that, like a surfing, skateboarding.
No chance.
I still think there's going to be a sports
Stick to
game
Mario
regardless.
sports game.
Mario sports game. We need baseball or basketball.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if there was one, but I'm going to sell on this. I feel like we've gotten golf.
We didn't get one this year. Last year. We get one every summer. We did not get one in 2023.
I'm bored of them. I mean, they don't have the impact. Camelot is just kind of bland.
I disagree with everyone's assessment on that. Mario Golf was fantastic. Mario Strikers was fantastic. These games aren't meant to be like other sports games that are going to make you want to play them for 12 months. You come in, you play them for 3 months, you get your unlockables, you get your collectibles, you move on. They failed at Strikers by making it a very online specific game. Mario Golf was fantastic, huge success in my eyes. I think people, I don't know what they want out of Mario sports games. They're not meant to come in and replace existing, FIFA or NHL hockey. They're not meant for that. They're meant to come in just like every other Mario game. You play them and you beat them until you're done and you move on. That's what Mario sports games do so well. And I think Camelot does that well. That's my soapbox. I think people are too critical in Mario sports games. Let them just be what they are. Mario sports games. That's my, and now I'm done. And yes, I do think there will be one this year.
I just find them generic. I wish they did better. They just never take that next step. I think if you do a sports game, you should try to get it like, better online, and I don't know, just support it more. I felt like Mario Strikers was supported a little bit. Like there was like ideas and leagues that were going to have different modes and whatever, and then it was just lame. It was like, they kept doing no differences, and then they would do like all bananas. It's like, can we do something a little more creative?
They did fail at that. Did you play Mario Sluggers on the GameCube?
I've played Mario Baseball.
Maybe I'm sorry. Maybe Sluggers was the one. The Mario Baseball one on the GameCube.
I mean, I would love a Mario Baseball game.
So what
I just don't think
game did so well was every character had 3 objectives, and it might have been like hit a grand slam, throw a double play. They had 3 things, and once you did all 3 objectives for that player, they got like a star. Right. And then that was like a power-up version of that player. Right. But it was very hard and difficult to do these objectives. But it was like you had that objective for 30, 40, 50 characters, and it was awesome to try to get them. It was fun.
Yeah, give me thousands of objectives. Make it like no return. Yeah. But that's not what they do anymore. That's the problem.
They kind of did it in Mario Golf. I mean, you had the star modes, but it was literally just grinding.
I'm going to call this a split.
That hurts.
We got to move on. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games that we both buy. So I'm going to move this into our ranked list. We need one more that we can agree on. Take a look at the ones that are not bold and tell me which is something...
Did you say Metroid? I thought, Metroid Prime we were selling. We both agreed on Metroid Prime, but we agreed on it not coming out this year.
Yeah, well, that's a prediction.
Yeah.
What's one game that we can agree on that maybe we didn't? What about... do you really think there won't be a Nintendo console this year?
I mean,
a non-handheld version.
Let me put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know.
I just feel like based on all of our predictions,
that's a bad prediction anyway. That's just assuming that.
let's carry. I mean, whatever it is, one of us won't agree on it. Let's bring Mario Sports game because I feel like that's probably something
Well,
that
how
could
about,
definitely happen.
or I would say I think there will be a Zelda game, maybe. Did we already have that?
Well, we had no new Zelda game. We
We
had
said
Zelda
new.
game.
If we just say I think there'll be a Zelda game this year, I would agree with that. But I don't think it's going to be, like you said, announced next direct. I think it's going to be, unless it's going to be announced, but I think it could come out later in the year.
Okay, so I'm going to say a new / remake Zelda game.
Period. In 2024.
Okay. Now let's go through this list and let's not take forever with it, but what do you think are the most likely things? What do you think are the least likely things?
I think most likely it's 3D Mario game.
3D Mario. So I'm going to float that. I'm going to kind of do like a little bubble sort thing here.
Yep.
I'm going to move 3D Mario game up. I'm going to say Final Fantasy VII remake, probably in the back half.
Yep.
For sure. Zelda Legos, top half or bottom half?
Top half.
I feel like top half.
Yeah, I think the Mario Legos are successful.
Some game will release alongside the Switch 2 to show off its new features. I feel like that's kind of bottom half because there's some other more obvious ones. I'm going to put Mario Kart 9 as bottom half because I can see that coming out after the Switch. Maybe it comes out in like the first quarter of 2025.
We don't have to get too crazy with the rankings. I think these are just our top 10 anyway. I don't think maybe.
Well, I want to know what the most, because like I want to say what I think the most guaranteed games are, and if our list comes out and the top 3 both are all got it, I want credit for that. Because I don't think I don't think some of these things are super likely. Like I think it's likely there will be a remake Zelda game. I don't think there'll be a new one. But I think we're going to get some kind of Zelda game next year.
I think the connected Joy-Cons should be a little bit higher.
Think so?
You don't?
I'm a little worried about that. I definitely would like it to be. We have Switch 2 has motion controls, and we also have connected Joy-Cons. If they're motion controls, it's most likely going to be separated Joy-Cons.
No, I think we said that we both sold that. We said it wasn't going to have motion controls.
I think the Switch 2 will have motion controls.
I think it's going to have the old Joy-Con motion controls, but it's not going to have a new form of motion control.
I still think that is possible. I think it will support the Joy-Cons maybe more than you think.
That one, number 2 and 7 right now are too similar.
Remember when the 3DS started coming out in the later time frames and they stopped including the AC adapter? Because they realized the market was people already had the adapter. So instead of including it, they sold it separately so that people who were new to 3DS could still go and buy one separately.
Which was stupid.
Most people, like, there was no sense giving people an adapter that they just threw in a box somewhere and didn't use. I think that's gonna be the same thing. I think the new Switch will have connected Joy-Cons because so many people have Joy-Cons already,
and they could save a lot of money with that.
You can save money not having them connected, and it feels better. Switch Lite feels better to play than a Switch.
If we are saying that it's not going to have Joy-Cons, it's not having an OLED screen, we're saving a lot of money here with the way we're designing this system, right? Which leads me to believe is we're going to get a lot of power behind it.
Yeah.
It's just why the price tag will be $400.
So what do you think the most likely thing on this list, that 3D Mario game will come out this year? I don't feel like that's the most likely thing.
You don't?
I don't know.
Yes, it is. Well, unless the new system doesn't come out.
I think Zelda Legos is the most likely thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if a new system is coming out in 2024, you will get a Mario game. But you can move Legos up there. I agree. Because I think there's more likely Legos than a new system.
Yeah. Switch 2 having motion controls.
Can you change that to Switch 2 supports motion controls?
Okay.
So I think that reads better, and now it's saying that
Switch 2 will be backwards compatible with the same slot. I feel like there's no way they're going to disc. There's no way they're going digital only. It only makes sense to support. I mean, they're going to have more expansive carts, maybe.
Why do you think they would not go digital only?
Well, because I think if you want to be backwards compatible, there's a gazillion people that have Switch games that are physical. If they make the next console not backwards compatible with the Switch, then yeah, maybe it could be digital only. I don't see it happening, but it could be. But if you're going to make it backwards compatible and then not let people play the physical games they have, that's a really bad thing to do. Because you're going to say, oh, I have all these games and you have backwards compatibility, but I can't play these games because I bought them physical when you offered them, but now I'm screwed. So you need to have a way like Xbox did where people can like put the disc in and then have that become like a digital purchase. And I just don't see Nintendo doing
is
that.
PlayStation and Xbox backwards compatible?
Yeah, it's largely backwards compatible, not with all games, but if you have a disc and it's backwards compatible, you put the disc in and then it locks the disc identity to a digital purchase. So now you can basically, it's as if you have a digital version of it. You have to
Oh,
use
you
that disc,
download
I
the
think.
digital version?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it works if you have to have that disc to play the game still, or
And once
that
you
disc is
download it, then you
now
pretty much throw away the discs.
like, I guess. I don't know
Okay.
how it works,
So
honestly.
your
But
disc, you're saying it's like it's your code. It's like it's your T code to download it.
it's
Huh.
exactly it's like a coupon. I just don't see Nintendo doing that same thing. Yeah, that's
So
why.
here's the only reason why I think it could not be backwards compatible is because if you have the Switch, like you don't need to get rid of it, just keep it and play your old games on it.
A
It's
lot
a
of people can do that, but there's a market of people who like if they buy the new system, they'll sell the old system. I mean, yeah, I'm happy to if they did a whole new Nintendo, I would
that's what I'm
connect
saying.
it. I would
Yeah,
have a Switch and whatever. That's fine. I mean, I'm not like it has to be. But if I'm gonna go take the train somewhere, I'd like to have my new Switch. Maybe I wanted to play a game that was on the Switch. You know what I mean?
no, I
Like
get it.
I don't know. There is some value, especially for a portable system, to be able to support that. If it's not portable, then yeah, I don't know. Doesn't you can't get too freaked out.
I agree. All right. Anyways, I mean, yeah, this is tough to it's tough to put them all in perfect order, but
All right, so the order we have right now, the most likely to least likely, is Zelda Legos, a 3D Mario game. Switch 2 supports motion controls. The Switch 2 will be backwards compatible and use the same slot for the games. We'll get a new or remake of a Zelda game. Mario Kart 9 will come out. Connected Joy-Cons on the Switch. I'm feeling like that has to go down a little bit. Some game will release alongside the Switch 2 to show
yes.
off its new features. Connected Joy-Cons, I moved down. No OLED on launch. I actually think this is more likely than at least the connected Joy-Cons, that it won't be OLED, but it'll be a nicer LCD screen. Connected Joy-Cons, and then the Final Fantasy VII Remake comes to
Okay.
Switch Switch 2 this year.
Sure.
So we'll see. If we did our jobs right, the top half of this list will nail them all. Bottom half, maybe. We'll see. That's all we got. We're
All right.
done. Predictions
We're
are done.
done. Whew.
We got this one.
Stressful. Well, that's the show, John. What do we have coming up the next few weeks that I could play?
I don't know. There's some big boy games on here. We've got Apollo Justice, the Ace Attorney trilogy coming out January 25th. Oh my gosh, I still need to finish the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth comes out January 26th. I'm so tempted with this one. Tekken 8 also comes out January 26th. The Eastward DLC, Octopia, comes out January 31st. Persona 3 Reload. This is a remake of Persona 3. Doesn't come out for Switch, which is surprising. But it comes out for other consoles February 2nd. And I'd imagine at some point it's either going to come to a Switch 2 or come to the Switch down the road. Maybe it needed some extra porting time. But that comes out February 2nd. And then for those who partake, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League comes out February 2nd on all non-Switch
That should be a
consoles.
big game, right?
So it's from the people that made the Batman Arkham trilogy, but it was also pitched as a live service game.
Oh.
And now they didn't back away from that. It got a very late delay last year, like very late. And they haven't come forth and say it's not a live service game. So it's still a live service game, but they said that post-launch at some point there's going to be a solo mode. That's pretty lame to me. That should be there on launch. Because, like, who knows? Maybe they cancel that. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen that before where people like Overwatch 2 had that, where they promised a campaign that never happened.
Yeah.
It should have been there day one. I kind of am interested in this game, but realistically, it would end up replacing Monster Hunter World, and I can only have one.
Yeah,
so for right now, Monster Hunter World is my game. Also, that Foam Stars game is coming out on PlayStation around that time, like a week later. And I'm more likely to try that and probably like that better. So Suicide Squad probably won't happen, but it is a cool looking game. I don't know. I like it. I wish Persona 3 Reload would come out on Switch. That's a tricky one. Like a Dragon's a really good game if you get a chance to play Like a Dragon. It's like a turn-based.
I saw that, yeah. Is that on Switch?
It's not. It's kind of a reboot of the Yakuza series. It's just a rename. Like a Dragon is what they call it in Japan and I think Europe. But Like a Dragon, it was called Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's really funny. It's turn-based. It's ridiculous. There's some really great side quests. It's a good time, and this is sort of the sequel to it.
Nice.
But I'll probably play that at some point in my future, but not at launch. That's it. There's some good games coming out. Maybe not for Switch, but there's Hollow Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy is fantastic. That's a good one. God, most of these games are not coming to Switch. Only 2 of these games are coming to Switch. What's going on?
I don't know. There's not much coming.
I think I started adding them because there just wasn't enough on there.
There's nothing. There's nothing coming. That's why I didn't want to play Stroll, the Hero Slayer.
Yeah. All right, man.
Alrighty, dude. Peace.
Good night, dads. The Dads After Dark show is part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. You can subscribe to us anywhere podcasts are available. If you're listening through Apple or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps us promote our show, and we'd be grateful to hear your feedback. Check us out on Threads and Instagram at @NDadsAfterDark. Send us a question to dadsafterdarkshow@gmail.com, and we'll read it on the show. Or if you want to hear yourself on the show, leave us a voicemail. See the episode description for a link to do that. Be sure to join us on Discord in our Dads After Dark channels. That's where we chat. You can participate in our monthly Mayhem contests, plus other activities such as Chubbies and so on. You can get access by joining the Nintendo Dads Patreon or by subscribing to their Twitch channel. A big thank you to Family Jewels for the show's music. Check out their YouTube to hear other awesome Nintendo cover tunes.